blues has always been totally American. As American as apple pie. The question is why? Why should the blues be so at home here? Well, America provided the atmosphere.
For the team, took a bullet for the dream that we would one day all be free, free from prejudice, free from sexism, free from bigotry. I die for creativity, yeah. I die for freedom to be free. I got it as a legacy. Oh, but baby, I still live through technology. The sun will start shining. What is the pain? Anticipate. Your destiny will manifest. Yes,
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everyone? Hello, 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 hello. Hope that you all are having a wonderful Monday morning. First of all, I want to apologize. I didn't realize that Ron and I were in two different time zones, so I should have scheduled it for 1 o'clock, which would have been 12 his time, so my apologies for that. These past 30-something minutes, baby, that was not on me. This black person was not late. I know they say niggas is late, but not me. Okay, what's going on? Not another Lynn. What's going on, Amber? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give something very, very brief before we get into this, okay? First of all, how this whole thing came about. Again, I've been subscribed to Ron for a very long time now, and then all of a sudden we had this radical shift. I see you in the background. Radical shift to a more Republican conservative viewpoint, and I've done some commentary videos just trying to understand his expression of blackness. You know what I mean? So with that being said, my goal tonight is to tap into the humanity part. I'm going to play the devil's advocate in reference to being a Democrat. Okay, I'm not Democrat at all. I don't believe in the political system. Again, it's two wings on the same damn bird. It's institutionalized. But for tonight's commentary, I'm going to play devil's advocate. That's probably a very fitting name for me, devil's advocate, right, Ron? I ask that you guys please be as open-minded as you can. You might be triggered in this conversation, so if you're not in the right mind or headspace, I think you might want to sit this one out until you're in a better one. but it's going to probably get passionate in some points. But we're getting to the humanity part. My goal is to try to find the gray area of understanding where we all can respect each other and we can all be happy, but we have to work through the murky bullshit first, okay? So with that being said, I would like to bring up tonight's guest, and that is Mr. RonVuggotta. Ron, how are you doing?
Hello, homosexuals.
Oh
I
Lord, I
finally
already
get to
told
join
y'all.
everyone because everyone keeps coming for me.
Ooh, it keeps coming for you. Okay. Well, at least they're coming for you and not on you and in you. I mean, you'd rather have it that way, right? All right. So to start it off, I kind of want to ask you a question really quick, just so that we can have like some context. Um, what like led to your decision to like subscribe to the Republican narrative or stance? Like, how did that go about? For those who don't know.
For those who don't know, what led me to it was a group of men in wigs was in a conversation with me, and this was in the period. Also, let me make this like very known. I've been Democrat. I've been very liberal lifestyle. People are treating me like I'm some old white man trying to tell people about their culture.
Mm,
I've been on that side. So
mm,
I was sitting here trying to educate myself on LGBT politics because in Alabama, I don't have any LGBT friends. And I always felt like I wasn't understanding
mm,
the lingo, the lifestyle, all of that.
mm.
So I started having these conversations. This was like March through June, July
Okay.
of last year. And one of them asked me, would I have a child? I mean, not would I have a child, would I date a trans woman? And I told him no, because I want a child and I might as well just date a woman versus just have the aesthetic. And then they jumped on me talking about uneducated and all of this. So the
Mm,
point that I'm making is it's the liberals' way of you have to completely agree with everything that they agree with,
mm,
or it's not enough.
mm,
And one thing that I noticed that me and other colored conservatives have in common is that we're pushed in this situation where we want to think for ourselves while at the same time having to please everyone around us.
mm,
In my shoes, the LGBTs, the BLMs,
mm,
and me personally, I didn't have a racist hate crime happen to me. I didn't have no white person whip on my back. And I'm in Alabama. And as far as LGBTs, these LGBTs, they're mentally confused. That's all I can say. They're mentally confused because how dare you not allow other people to have their own opinion? And then
mm,
because I have my own opinion, which doesn't align with yours,
mm,
I'm uneducated.
mm.
And I don't take no personal offense to it though, because honestly, I think all homosexuals fall out with each other over differences of opinions. Because again, everyone has to be brainwashed and no one is using their own brain cells. So
So you feel like the liberal left is literally not thinking for themselves. You feel as if though they're subscribing to a narrative, and they're trying to give it power, as opposed to being like, "Hey, let's choose to be free for ourselves. Like, let's think for ourselves." Right?
right, because then I wouldn't believe that a whole bunch of, transgenders,
Mm.
transformers, and all these dykes would be
Oh my God.
bulldaggers and dykes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And I also don't feel like everyone that's gay is
Okay.
naturally gay. I know a lot of
Mm.
people like yourself say that you are naturally gay,
Mm.
but then you have to wonder there's a lot of molestation in
Mm.
households.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it could be some kind of traumatic twist in your mind, which can be
Mm.
linked to, yes, being gay could just be a mental disorder. So,
Mm. So you feel like homosexuality manifests not naturally, but through altered things that happen in people's lives, like you said, like sexual abuse. You feel like those are like the contributing factors to LGBT plus existence.
no.
No, but you no, but you had said that like something like I'm
I
saying
said
I'm
that
saying
it can
sexual
be.
abuse, but I don't
I
like to say
said
that
that it
word.
can be. It. So I prefaced it with you call yourself a natural homosexual.
Right.
You haven't experienced anything. So because of that, I cannot say well everyone is gay because of a demon or because of a sexual affliction.
So you're saying LGBT, there's no way for it to be natural. It has to be some other means for it to be here.
I literally said what I said. I literally just said what I
Yeah,
said.
but
I literally just said what I said. So
but I asked the question to get a deeper understanding because what came out of your mouth, Ron, was some sort of demon or some sort of sexual affliction. You said to me, you
I
believe that
mentioned
I'm a
that, but that
natural.
wasn't how I phrased it.
So do you believe I'm a natural homosexual, or do you believe that something
I
happened?
believe that I prefaced it and said, I even explained I dissected my preface and said, I cannot say or perpetuate that being gay is a demonic entity or the cause of a sexual infliction because you yourself are a natural gay. You yourself are, from what I understand, a loving person, a normal person.
So how can that
You,
not be the case for other LGBT people who feel the exact same way despite what you believe? Like trans women, why can't they naturally be trans?
yes, I just said that.
So you saying there are natural trans people out here? I'm just
Yeah, there
oh,
are
you are?
natural trans people because there are natural mental illness out here. You can't blame someone that's transgender for being transgender. It's just when they succumb to that demonic energy is when,
But it goes
it's
back to what
off.
right. It goes back to what I said before. That's why I was asking you the question so you can be more clear. That's why I said you
I
just
thought I
said yeah.
was
There are
clear.
not you weren't clear enough. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. It's not being very clear enough when it comes down to LGBT. You're talking about natural, but then in order for it to be natural, there has to be some other element. Why can't it just be naturally gay, naturally lesbian, naturally transgender, no form of demonic possession, no form of sexual abuse? What if this is a person who knows who they not are innately, which means there is no influence? It's something that they know within themselves. Is that possible, or is there has to be something else? Because it seems as if though
Gay,
there's
yes. Transgender, no. To save you your time.
and why with trans? Why no for trans?
Because what is pushing you to look in the mirror and see the total opposite of reality,
So what do you
other
then
than
say?
mental illness?
So what do you then say to individuals like Native Americans and other indigenous people who do honor the trans experience and see it as something as a higher spiritual thing? Does that count? Because I know when it comes to religion, it's really just God over everything and Christianity over everything. So are the Native Americans' experience of that? Do you accept that, or do you be like no? There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way. And you have factual evidence to back that up.
I don't. So we asking about my beliefs, or we talking about? Because I
But
thought we were talking about my beliefs, my opinions.
right, but here's the thing that I think is very
Because if you
dangerous.
presented a fact that it is natural to be a damn dyke, then I'm still gonna, in my mind, say no, it's not natural, and that's just my opinion. I don't need a fact to prove my opinion. If anything, the fact of my opinion is coming directly from my mouth. So yeah.
So you're saying that's okay. That's one thing for it to be your subjective fact, what you believe.
And I'm not
But
forcing anyone to
then
subscribe to it. So
you're not forcing people to subscribe to it.
no.
So what about the laws and stuff? Like, do you? Because what do you? Okay, so what do you think about like gay pride and all this stuff? How do you feel about that?
It should be illegal. Gay pride should be one of the holidays, just like Black History Month, that should be removed from American
Wow.
culture.
Mm.
And it serves no purpose to life.
So Black History Month and Gay Pride does not serve the American people at all in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Despite, but that's the thing. Like, it's one thing to have a subjective opinion about what you believe, but then it's different when you try to, because that perspective and ideology that you believe hurts a lot of people when it comes to the system. Because there are people who believe the same thing that you do, who put those things into laws to keep that type of ideology on LGBT people. But then when LGBT people try to educate, because once again, that's their experience. You have your own gay, same gender loving experience, but it doesn't mean that your experience is the only experience. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of like when you see people out there literally walking in their freedom, why are people feeling some type of way about it, and why are they demonizing it? They're not even taking the time out to fully understand and educate themselves. Meanwhile, the LGBT community had to deal with the ideologies and viewpoints that you feel. Like the same sentiments you share are the same sentiments that were shared during earlier eras within America. So it's kind of like it's showing that same thing. And once again, we're talking about facts here. We're talking about America. When it comes down to the American system, especially in the court of law, you have to have beyond a reasonable doubt. And LGBT people, black people, oppressed, marginalized people have the burden of proof, and they present it. So now it's time for the other side to counter argue that. And you can't counter argue that by saying, oh, well, that's my opinion. Well, if that's the case, your opinion is wrong, factually, objectively, outside of you. It don't have to be wrong to you, but it's wrong outside of you, because that type of thinking is really affecting the lives of other LGBT people.
I'm literally not president of the United States. I'm literally not under any Republican payroll. So
At
again,
least not
if
yet.
my opinions is affecting someone, then literally it's the internet. Just make your own videos fighting for your rights. So
do you have that same mentality when it comes down to people coming for you? Does it feel personal for you?
no, because these people don't know me. So honestly, whatever that they can say, I find it a waste of time. Because as I always say in my content, I make content for other conservatives. I came out conservative so other like-minded people could attract to me, and I could have my own community group of people where we can have our anti-LGBT conversations and our anti-BLM conversations. What I got
So what do you
instead,
think is going to happen when you have those conversations? They're just going to be conversations, or do you think those conversations are going to lead to something else, a little bit more sinister or a little bit more proactive? Like, there are literally people who believe and subscribe to the same narrative who went up into Pulse nightclub and shot it the hell up. There are people who believe that same ideology and walked inside of, I think it was Club Q, I believe, the most recent LGBT mass shooting. That happened as well. And once again, they were doing it to protect the children, because there's something sinister and evil about these people. It starts off first as a conversation, but it's a hateful conversation. It is a conversation that is not filled with any form of education or balance at all. Now, I'm not going to lie. On the Democratic part, that same energy is being given. The same energy is a back and forth and a back and forth. We have to find out what the issues and the problem is. So, once again, if you can have an opinion and say what you want to say, then you can't be mad when other people have opinions of you, and maybe even take it a step further and actually physically try to do something to you. Do I think that's right? Hell no, that's not right. But there are some people who think that way. Do you get what I'm saying? And you do want to pursue, if I'm not mistaken, a political career. So you can't sit up here and say, oh, I don't want liberal people to watch my content as we talk about liberal people. Why not? Why are y'all afraid to have the people in the room that you're talking about?
so first, no one is afraid of liberals.
Okay.
It's just all the massive delusion that gives people a headache, people with common sense a headache. So it's not like anyone is afraid. It's just a conversation about massive insanity. Too, and it's only insanity because they're in denial about the mental illness, which I don't fault them, because they can't control that they were born with a mental illness. So I love them. But when they're going to succumb to it, then it's a massive.
What do you mean by succumb? Like, give me some examples of succumbing to it.
I would like to make my points, and then,
oh, no problem. Go ahead.
Like, you can bookmark where you want to ask further questions.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
I just want to let that, be known. And then you're off camera, so you can have your notepad and your pen and just jot down your notes as I speak. So,
go ahead.
Yes, first, no one is scared of liberals. It's just a massive headache talking to them. Mainly because, like my original point, there is no difference of opinion. There is no, we can feel differently on different aspects of life and still have a friendship. Because, fun fact, my closest friend is a damn Democrat. My closest friend is a damn liberal. But we don't sit around each other debating hate towards each other. We actually talk about conversations where we have conversations that we try to lead to a solution versus lead to a you're right, you're wrong. So yeah, it's a headache trying to speak to a liberal. Two, as far as liberals and their way of, damn, I forgot what we was talking about in the other point. I didn't forget, but it slipped my mind.
Why that slipped your mind? Let me address TTB real quick. Yes, he did eat that. He sure did. But this was supposed to be a podcast. That's what the original intent of it was. But we had to work with what we had. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So with that being said, going back to my question I was going to ask you, even though you lost where you was at, that's okay. What are some of the examples of the delusion that you see that gives you a headache?
A man puts on a wig and he walks down the street. A woman with a white beater on, a damn BulldaggerDyke, walking around in Walmart wanting to me to affirm her as a man. People who are only into themselves, and that's really the main point of all of this, is the fact that they're so indulgent in themselves that they have a lack of connection to a higher source, Jesus Christ, but to each his own. To where, yeah, they're so in tune and so wanting to be validated by the world and by standards. I don't think a lot of people would be a man in a wig if people wasn't trying to make it so normal. And you know, I get the cause of wanting to just let those kind of people be, walking around in life the way that they are. The problem with that is when you allow one to, quote unquote, live out their delusion. I couldn't even force myself to say be who they are, because that's not who they are. When you allow one person to live life, maneuver life in delusion, they have the potential to influence 1,000 into that wrong direction. And obviously look at the social climate of today. Everyone is influenced by what? Sex, drugs, money. I mean, you bring up a lot of sexual references in a lot of your commentary. So, and a lot of people are
Free. Go ahead.
a lot of people are more driven in life by money, and that is the opposite of what Republicans stand for. We have morals. I know the term capitalism will come up.
Yes.
And yes, Republicans push for free open market small government, and it's to our best benefit because, well, that's a conversation for capitalism versus socialism, which I'm happy to talk about as well.
Yes,
but it's going to veer off the topics that of homosexuality that you want to talk about. So let's continue.
Okay. So, how can you sit up here and say that men in wigs are in delusion when you have trans women who literally are explaining and are saying that they understand that they are biologically male? Because once again, with the education, okay, male and female is the sex, the biology. Man and woman is the social construct. Men wear pants. Men wear blue. Men play with G.I. Joes. Women wear skirts and dresses. Women wear pink. Women play with Barbies. It's a social construct. Everybody's not going to fit that social construct. they're saying and understand that they're not biologically female, but they are an expression of a woman. That is the thing. And there are many different forms of women. You have women out here who look unclockable, who look clockable, who are cis hetero women that have strong features like men, got strong nose like they daddy, got a strong chin like they daddy, got a strong jawline like they daddy, and they're still cis women. So I don't understand how that's a delusion. You're talking about lesbian women who want to be men because, again, they subscribe to the social construct of what a man is, the clothes. They still know that they are women. They still know that they are female. And they still know that they're connected to their divine femininity. And then you talk about the connection to Jesus Christ. One of the things that you follow in Christ is how you show love, because that's what he walked in. He walked with the people that you're saying who are the delusional ones in this. He sat with those people. He talked to those people. He was able to attach to their humanity. And quiet as it's kept, he was cussing your people out. Your people who walked around, who had the power and the influence and benefit for capitalism the most. Because when we get to that conversation, we're going to talk about it. Because you say that Republicans they're not about money, because that's a vain thing, but yet they push the money. That makes no sense to me. So once again, when you walk with Christ, you're going to have to show it. And my thing is this. Y'all talk about sex, drugs, and money. A lot of that shit is happening on both the Republican and the Democrat side. That is factual. How many scandals have we seen of people doing things on both sides? So let's not act like there's a moral obligation or a moral compass here, okay? And then on top of that, here's a question I want to ask you. Why do you think that the Republican Party is so pressed about LGBT people's expression or liberation? How is their liberation affecting you personally? How? How is it how is a trans woman walking down the street or coming into your business to buy something, to patronize your business? How is she hurting you? What money coming out your bank account? What food is coming out your fridge? Is it fucking up y'all Wi-Fi? Like, somebody please make it make sense. How can you talk about mental illness and y'all don't even do y'all research to even try to understand the other side? It's so one-sided. Again, LGBT people had to deal with the conservative thought points for so damn long, honestly. So why do you feel like Republicans are so pressed by LGBT people? Why?
In passing, I'm pretty sure we don't care about liberal homosexuals because this is a democracy. They should feel blessed to be able to walk around the way that they do in America. It's only a pressing issue when it involves interactions, which it is my choice to not want to interact with one. And that should be totally fine, because there is literally a homosexual gay agenda cult accumulated together, backing each other to support each other. So me refusing service from, or transgender refusing me service, either way, it doesn't afflict me. So
you're okay with having that same energy thrown back at you from LGBT people? That's fine. Even if it was a job opportunity that could benefit you for, okay, or no, let's take it to the example I used before, since we having it publicly. Okay, I've said this before. You're having a heart attack, right? You're having a heart attack and you need emergency surgery. And the only doctor that is specialized in this heart transplant or whatever you need surgery done is a trans woman. Would you allow her to operate on you if it meant benefiting your life? Or would you be like, hell no, I'm Republican till I die, I'm red until I die? Hell no, I'd rather go ahead and go to heaven knowing that sick individual did not touch my body at all. Because if they did, I probably would still, probably go to hell or something. Like, what would your answer be?
They can operate.
So they can operate when it benefits you. But would you even tell that person thank you after it's done? Like, thank you for saving my life, and be genuine? Like, would you try to understand more about transgender people because it's like, wow, this trans person just saved my life? Or is it more of like an interaction, like a transaction, like, okay, thank you. Okay, and by the way, you're sick and you're twisted, but thank you for fixing my heart. Is it going to be like that?
I would thank them and leave it at that.
But still deny their existence. So they're still sick, they're still twisted, they're still mentally ill, but they saved your life nonetheless.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, the one thing I do appreciate, Ron, is that your ass is honest. Very, very honest. Very, very honest. Um, you have the right. That's true. You have the right to not choose to interact with other people. That's absolutely right. I do agree with you on that aspect. If you don't want to interact with those people, that's fine. But I think when it comes down to building a false ideology around them and then perpetuate that like that's the truth over them, I think that's the issue and the problem. If you don't like that person, don't be around that person. But don't sit up here and try to make up lies about this person that you can't factually prove. You can't sit up here and say, oh, well, that's my opinion, and then try to make your opinion fact, but then get mad at the individuals who are living the experience and bring forth the insurmountable amount of evidence. Somebody got to be wrong here, and it ain't us. It ain't us. So let's go more into the gay agenda. What do you think the gay agenda encompasses, like, at the core? What do you think the main goal of the gay agenda is?
Satanism.
Satanism. You wow. Satanism in what way? In what way is Satanism?
In the way that homosexuals feel the need to be so liberated.
So being liberated, having believing in yourself, self-love, that's satanic. Okay, what else?
Because I'll play along with this whole facade that like liberal homosexuals are just blessings from God and that they have no wrongdoings. Not only in America, but in affecting the whole world. I'll play this game, but yeah, liberation.
So liberation is bad. How is liberation bad?
Too much of anything is bad.
But I'm talking about just basic as equal rights, protections.
They have equal rights.
To honor those things. That's why the education of it is in the schools, as far as saying, hey, there are other people in the world that are not heterosexual. There are other people, other expressions as well. What's wrong with honoring them and saying, okay, you gay, so what? Okay, you ain't doing nothing to me. Oh, you're trans. Oh, okay, I don't feel bothered by that. Like, why are people afraid of other people just being free?
What is your question?
Why are y'all pressed about people being free? Like, what is it actually doing to y'all?
They are free.
But I'm saying, what is LGBT people doing to y'all to have such an active dislike against them for no reason?
They're acting demonic. I feel like I'm giving you the same answers, like in different formats.
I'm trying to get down to the truth because once again, we talk about.
I don't know how much truthful can they get.
So what do you mean by you talk? That's very broad. Satanism and acting in the way of Satan. Like what ways do you mean? You're giving a very broad generalization that doesn't work. That's why it's so much negative, low vibrational thinking on the other side, because we're not taking the time to understand it deeper. But then when people generalize you, oh, you don't know me, you don't know me. So you want people to know you and understand you, but you don't want to offer that same grace to somebody else based off on the idea that you probably didn't even come up with yourself. You subscribe to somebody else's belief. You can say the same thing about me. How and what ways you thinking is so freeing? And that other LGBT people should jump ship over to the Republican Party. Like, where's the gay liberation over there?
It's called sacrifice.
Okay, so explain to us about sacrifice.
Sacrifice means that nobody cares truly that you like to suck dick at night. Nobody cares that you like to put on a strap-on and fuck another woman at night. Nobody truly cares. The sacrifice is, let's calm down on being so hypersexual. The sacrifice is, let's put down nail polish and guide men into you were explaining earlier about genders and things like that, social constructs. Social constructs should be affirmed 100%.
So you believe that we should stick to the respectability politics? Like, you feel like men should act like men and women should act like women?
Yes.
And why do you feel that that should be the case for everybody?
Because if you're born a man, you're naturally inclined to do things like construction work, when you're a woman, you're inclined to not only give birth, but to bring a feminine energy onto the planet that balances out the toughness of a man. Everyone has their place. It's not meant for a man to be walking around acting hyper feminine. It is not natural for a woman to be walking around portraying
Yeah,
themselves
being
as
strong.
hyper masculine.
Hmm. So when you talk about hypersexual, here's the thing that I want people to understand too. Because here it is, you just said, oh, well, we don't care about y'all eating cat at the middle of the night. We don't care about
I would
you
like to
sucking
ask
a.
you a question.
Wait. And once again, since you on screen, you can pause real quick. So let me finish my thing. What I was saying. Um, you're saying that men are walking around and I don't care if you sling dick and all that type of stuff, but then once again you're talking about the hypersexual thing of it, so it kind of seems like y'all do care about it, because whenever you bring up LGBT, it's just sexual only, as opposed to them being a human being. Hypersexuality is not something that is exclusive to homosexual LGBT people. That is a human thing. There are so many cis hetero people out there right now that is having sex not because they want to have kids. They're not singing, so you having my baby. They're not singing none of that. They're having sex for the pleasure, and then when the kids come in, all of a sudden, oh, I'm not the daddy, so we can go ahead and let go of that hypersexual thing being exclusive to that. That's the issue and the problem. Like, why don't the people who are really ignorant and don't know what's wrong with y'all educating yourselves? Is it because when you educate yourself, you will understand some of your biases and some of your insecurities and hatreds within yourself that you don't want to deal with? I don't understand what the problem and the issue is. Like, you're telling LGBT people to shut the hell up and to be quiet and to stop all this gay shit, but even when they was doing it behind closed doors, even when they was putting it on the low, y'all still fuck with them. So at this point, it just gives the illusion that y'all don't care about LGBT people at all. And then when you
I
speak
don't.
about masculine, you say you don't.
I don't.
Okay, well, I'm grateful that you verify that. And again, you're still part of the community. You're still gay, so that's really sad. But you talked about masculine and feminine. Once again, when you first of all, when your ass start loving yourself, you'll start to transcend the Bible. The Bible is the basic instruction before leaving earth, and hoes the struggle on the basic. Jesus helped them. But when you transcend that, you understand masculine and feminine and what Jesus Christ really meant. Not what y'all think God is, girl, because you can't get to God until you get through Christ. That's what it says in your book. It's a shame the demon knows more about your book than you do. That makes no sense. But they literally said that you have to marry your heart and your mind together, your masculine and your feminine, in order for you to be a balanced human being. When they talked about Christ awaiting his bride, that meant the marriage between spirit and body. That's the issue. You have people up here who are claiming to know God. Can't nobody know God unlike them because they're the righteous one. They have all the money and all the influence. And when we get onto capitalism and socialism, we're going to talk about how white America, both Republican and Democrat, still benefit from the stolen lands of black people to this day, factually speaking. So when I bring that up, I hope there's facts and not just opinions, because opinions are like assholes and some of y'all motherfucker need some douches. I'm just saying. Now, what was your question?
I forgot it.
Okay. Okay. So with that being said, let me see if there's anything else because I have to change my stuff around. Okay, I think we just did the homophobia and trans thing. Okay, so let's go on to the whole racism thing. Let's talk about Black Lives Matter, critical race theory, reparations, criticizing law enforcement. So give us your input on Black Lives Matter. How do you feel about that?
It's a cult, and to me, it's a scam.
Okay. Okay. And can you elaborate for the people why you believe that?
Because I truly don't feel like black unity and love and everything that colored people as a whole, if we're going to include Hispanics and Asian people, um, I don't believe that they even believe in that narrative. So, what's the point of subscribing to it?
Do you think that with Black Lives Matter that it was demonized and villainized and infiltrated? to look that way? Because a lot of times when these black organizations start and these movements start, they start off small. That's why policing is very important because historically
May I
speaking,
rephrase?
yeah, go ahead.
So when I speak of Black Lives Matter, I'm not
Hmm.
speaking directly about the organization. I'm talking as far as it could have ever went. Um, Whatever the names that have been twisted and spun, whether you want to call it Black Panthers or anything like that, I feel like all of those are in one bubble, and I feel the same way about the whole entire bubble, that it's fake and that the love and unity is not real.
Do you
So
understand?
not specifically just the organization.
But you're talking about just black people,
Black people, or
or
to
just
make it
just
more broad,
colored
colored
people,
people.
colored
Yeah,
people. So black people and people of color. Okay, so let me ask you this: do you know how the whole Black Lives Matter thing like started?
I really don't care.
You don't care. Okay, well you here, so I'm gonna let you know. It started off the heels of George Floyd. You know, the one that Candace Owens said that was the false savior and the false hope. The same thing was said about Emmett Till. That sparked the civil rights movement. Like, that's why history is important. As much as y'all don't want to hear it, that'd be the primary issue. Don't nobody want to learn from their history. So when you say Black Lives Matter, it really is talking about how police officers are literally not trained to deal with the emotional responses that black people deal with and the fear. Can we talk about that? How do you feel about defunding the police? How do you feel about that?
It's very ignorant to throw the notion around defunding the police because I believe that we should increase law enforcement pay.
Mm. So what do you think law
We,
enforcement is
I feel
doing?
like if we
Mm-hmm.
incentivize, I'm having a tongue
Incentivize.
twister moment,
Mm-hmm.
um, more funding for the police, that would be one of the for sure ways the black culture could get this shit together. Um, because then we can start to work on the problems such as the crime against black people. I already know a lot of people may feel like the crime is non-existent. In my eyes, in my opinion, whether it's facts or not, I grew up in the hood. To
Mm-hmm.
me, the crime is very real.
Mm-hmm.
So increasing police pay would be
Mm-hmm.
an excellent way to progress the black community.
Okay. Okay. I'm glad you said that as far as police in the black community. I will agree with you on the fact that there is some black self internalized hatred that's going on within the black community. Yes, you are right. There are black men that are literally killing each other over money and territory that they don't really have connection to or don't really own. But then we have to also ask ourselves, how did they get into this position? Because when we, again, context and nuance is so important. I mean, come the fuck on. When you look at history, this is the first time ever that black people have been attacking themselves, have lost their own will within themselves. And yes, there's a lot of black people who are dealing with the emotional hurt and not feeling valued in this world, even though historically speaking, America and capitalism and how people deal with it today was literally built off the backs of black people, factually, historically speaking. So we have to deal with that. We really, really have to deal with that. As far as the police, they don't, um, they're not, they're not preventative. They're responsive. They respond to stuff, and they feel like responding with a gun is the most important thing. When you walk around with a hammer, everything eventually is going to look like a fucking nail. So when we talk about defund the police, it doesn't mean to literally bankrupt the police. It means that why don't we take other allocated funds, okay, and also bring in social work to help deal with the issues. For example, if a police gets a call that there's a domestic dispute going on, they can also send a conflict resolutor with them to help dilute the problem. The police don't know how to talk to people. They yell and scream at people. We've seen this factually in hundreds of videos how the police act. So when you talk about defund the police, again, you have to know what you're talking about, not just what Fox News told you it was. Now, how do you feel about critical race theory?
It's not important
It's not. Why you feel like it's not important?
because just like defund the police, critical race theory, to me,
Mm-hmm.
sounds like a way to perpetuate to our future generations that not only did slavery exist, but it's only going to affirm that it remains. And a lot of Black people have this mindset that something that happened almost 2 centuries ago is still affecting us now. It's not affecting me, so it's still affecting y'all now. And I feel like critical race theory just does it. On paper, it sounds nice. It sounds excellent, keeping the history of different cultures alive. But it's not just that. It's the fact that there's the connotation on, yes, interjecting to minority children that they are not good enough and that they have to work twice as hard to advance in life. They've been having to work twice as hard to advance in life for almost 2 centuries. So at what point do people just own up to their shit, have some accountability, and, you know, create better for their lives?
Okay. I'm glad you said that. This is and this is what I want people to understand. Like again, history is very important. When you say that, it to me, it sounds as if though you are telling Black people to literally forget what happened to them and to completely let it go. And here is the thing.
Yes.
Let's just say collectively, Black people just say, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to let this shit go. We're going to let it go. It was still, the shit that's still happening to them will still happen to them because, once again, it is systematic. It is a part of the system. And once again, when we look at history, there's literally a timeline. If me and you right now were in a formal debate right now, you would lose because you wouldn't have any facts to back it up. If we were in the court of law right now, your ass would be going to jail for life because you don't have any facts to back it up. If you're going to speak about something, there has to be a physical manifestation in order for everyone outside of you to see that. So let's go ahead with my long-winded ass, okay? Because it's so much bullshit, girl. There's so much shit to talk about. I want to speak about something real quick. Hold on, let's see if I can find it. Because I want to talk about... I'm trying to find it. Give me 1 second, y'all. Excuse me. Do you want to switch over to capitalism versus socialism? You want to talk about that?
Everything we talk about, I can literally answer straightforward. It could literally take me 30 seconds to get done with each topic. Capitalism versus socialism. It wouldn't work because capitalism is about creating new and it trickles throughout society. Socialism is about making what we have currently work and recycling it over and over. So there's no incentive to keep being in it, to keep advancing, to want to push for more earnings, to want to push for as big of a business as anyone can dream to have. I would love to be a Tyler Perry with my own setup, whatever it may be in the ghetto, but hey. So yeah, I don't think there should be a cap on, or we shouldn't convert to a China idea that a business can only grow so far, because at the end of the day, I also have to help someone who decided to do nothing but, well, let me say this, why I took so long to get on this live. I took so long to get on this live because I work, I do things, I make money, and this probably the only time I'll never get paid to have these conversations. But in the future, I'm sure I'll get paid to have these conversations. So it had to work in a time frame that does not afflict with my daily grind, which there is also trying to be a cancel culture on grind. Another excuse by lazy people. So anywho, I was late because yes, I do things, and unlike everyone else who advocates for Section 8 and food stamps, I don't sit here and sell food stamps in my ass all day. And the incentive for my hard work is that I'm creating my American dream. I understand that every new day that I get is not only just a blessing from Jesus Christ, but it's also another opportunity to challenge what I've done the day before and how I can do it better. Versus socialism, there's just no incentive to that. Why would I, like, for example, with China, want to have a business be so great only for it to be taken from me by, yeah, people who don't do nothing but sit on their ass and sell food stamps and head? I don't subscribe to socialism, capitalism all the way. Anybody I believe with a dream in America would subscribe to capitalism naturally. I believe that black people aren't as stupid and as dumb as they want to make themselves believe. I also stated in my commentary on my platform that my problem isn't with colored people, colored Democrats. It is with white Democrats. So, yeah, there's a lot of opposition against me. And I understand that through this conversation, I literally still feel exactly how I feel. I get that if this was some court of law, you may feel like factually on your end, you have depleted me. But on my end, everything that you're saying just sounds like bootleg and handicap reasons for that. And that's not what I'm about. So I'm just not connecting with that. Feel sorry.
Okay, that's completely understandable. I mean, you have Republican people who believe about a white man in the sky who's gonna come back for their ass and is not gonna know who the hell they is. So I mean, we all can believe certain things. You know what I mean? That's cool.
And I would like to be respectable to people's religions, as far as myself included, when we bring up at least Christianity. And
So you
that's me asking you nicely, please, with a
okay?
please.
Okay, and here's the thing, Ron. Too, I am gonna do the best I can to respect, even though you came on and said almost every derogatory term and derogatory word that you could say about LGBT people, niggas and wigs. All these things were very disrespectful. So I'm gonna try my best to once again walk the path of Christ. Cause no shade, the way that you speaking, Ryan, you don't know who Christ is. You know who God is, and you even struggling with that. But as far as Christ, I'm gonna go ahead and walk the peaceful path. But I'm not gonna do it too many times. Okay, no shade. Now, when you bring up food stamps and all this stuff, statistically speaking, and speaking again, once again, it seems like black people can't get ahead. Once black people lazy and all this shit, but then when black people bring forth educated, and when you consider it long-winded, it's not long-winded, bitch. It's educated and nuanced. Okay, when they provide those type of education, those educational responses, well, it doesn't matter because of the logic. So it seems like black people can't win for nothing. But statistically speaking, there are white people who are on government assistance more than black people. And once again, let's bring up some factual evidence. Okay, give me 1 second. In 1933, again, I'm building a timeline. During the Great Depression, President Franklin D. Roosevelt enacted something known as the New Deal, okay? This deal subsidized farmers, created Social Security, unemployment insurance, labor unions, the Home Owners Loan Corporation, as well as other government interventions that had positive impact on the economy. Just like how this recession, this thing that happened in 2020 with the stimulus checks were here to help bring money to America so that Americans can spend money. So it was a positive impact on the community. But in compromise with the white Southerners, Roosevelt agreed to exclude farm workers and domestics, which were people of color and black people, out of critically social safety net programs. Again, Social Security, unemployment insurance. That exclusion left out 60% of all black workers, okay? And when they talk about affirmative action, that was to benefit white people first and their future. So once again, when we talk about food stamps, it's more white people on that than black people. Give me 1 second. And then also too, you're acting as if though black people are not getting up and not grinding. That's why they have to grind. That's why they have to work so damn hard. They go the legal way. They go the right way. They go to places like Amazon and then also work and surpass whatever Amazon's asking them to do. And in them 10 to 12 hours, they're doing even more and they're not even being paid what they deserve. And when they try to create unions, there's a problem and an issue with it. So the fact that you're saying black people is lazy and need to get up off their ass and do something about that, that's not. Black people are doing that. Black people have always pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. But if you did your educational history, if you did your research, as opposed to just speaking, which is not really your thoughts. It's really just regurgitated thoughts by Republican white people who want to use you as a mouthpiece for their own vitriol. Because if what you were saying was true, so let me ask you this: see, you don't care about LGBT people. Do you care about black people at all? Do you care about the advancement of black people, or you don't care about that either? You just want your money.
So I don't care for one specific group of people. I care for everyone as a whole, and I also want to get an understanding. So when I signed up to do this, I thought that I was signing up to be myself and to use you as a leverage of understanding. I didn't know you were taking a liberal role and making this a debate.
Well,
but that's fine.
Okay.
I just would like opportunities and space gaps in the long paragraphs that you're giving to give me a chance to respond versus having to remember 3-4 points that you're making all at once. And then by the time I can respond, I'm forgetting where we are. So we're doing this in debate style. I would just like for shit.
Not the shit that happened to Donald Trump. No.
Shit.
No, but here's the thing I want you to understand, okay? And this is the problem where it's the issue. I want it to be a conversation, but I also prefaced the conversation and said there are moments where we're going to get passionate.
Because you're the one who's like agitated, and I'm not.
Well, the reason why there's an agitation there is because once again, the comments and the opinion that you speak, if you're going to speak so boldly, especially when it comes down to,
it's just straightforward. It's not being bold.
That's what bold means. Bold means straightforward. That's what it literally means. It means being direct. But at the same time, Ron, let's be honest. I also gave you grace and mercy as well in the conversation. When you checked me and talked about wanting to respond, I allowed you to respond. And why don't you do what you told me? You told me to grab my phone and to write down the stuff. I'm not on camera. So why don't you do the same thing while I'm doing that? Why don't you that's the problem. Why don't you practice what you preach? That's all I'm saying. I still operate in love. I mean, I'm not. If I was getting angry, trust me, you know I'm getting angry.
I feel that way now.
Okay, well, I want to just let you understand. Okay, just so you know, I'm in no way, shape, or form angry at you.
We can move on to the next topic because you're saying that, but that's literally what you're doing now is literally the opposite of what I was receiving before signing up for this. So if let's just continue.
Right, but Ryan, you also told me that you was gonna let me have it during this whole thing too. You told me that.
But I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to about the audience that you're asking me about, with an exception of you taking a liberal stance. My understanding was you were taking a neutral, almost independent stance, leverage leeway. If I was going to do a debate, I would have had free range to just debate with anybody. The whole purpose. It's fine. Let's continue. It's fine. Let's continue.
Well, I already prefaced what it was in the beginning, but you know what? I will give you that.
And yeah, I apologize for misunderstanding you. So it's fine.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the time to speak. Go ahead. I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
I don't have nothing to speak about.
Okay. Let me look at my notes then. Hold on, because we can get right back on that. So I'm glad I did these like little rubrics and stuff. Okay, so let's continue the conversation about capitalism over socialism then. Let's continue that. So do you agree that capitalism is designed to exploit and labor human beings? Because there are people right now who literally are working 2-3 jobs and still can't make it work. There are people who literally had to get some sort of financial stability and some sort of breathing room when the pandemic happens because of the stimulus check. So again, I guess the irritation comes because...
My simple answer to that is, if you don't like your job, quit. Next question.
But you want people working. They have to be working. So, I mean, they don't have the opportunity to get the jobs they really want. So you're saying that they're just stuck there? That's their fault? They should have worked a little bit harder?
No, just work harder somewhere else.
Work harder somewhere else. But what about the people who do work harder, like at Amazon, who, once again, go over what they're asked? For example, let's say they're supposed to pick 500 items in a matter of, like, let's say 4 or 5 hours, and they end up picking more than 2,000, and they don't get paid anything for that. Like, they don't get any sort of extra benefit. They don't get any sort of time and a half. They don't get any guaranteed 40 hours. Like, there is an issue and a problem. You have people who are speaking about capitalism and saying how it's literally ruining their lives.
I don't see how you're not forced to work anywhere. Only way you're forced to work somewhere is with something that I don't agree with. Employee provided health insurance. Besides that, you're literally not forced to work anywhere.
So what about the businesses that don't offer those type of insurances to their people?
Then it's literally, well, the insurance situation. I don't believe in employer provided insurance in the first case. So it would, in a realistic way, because that's where a lot of people are getting their insurance, just find a job that provides insurance.
So what if they can't find jobs they qualify for? Like, what if they don't have a high school diploma?
Well, they should pray to God that nothing happens to their body.
So what do you then say to those people who, because they can't get ahead, they have to do what is known as sex work? Like, they have to do OnlyFans. They have to do these things because these opportunities are not really provided to them. And even if they were to work,
I don't feel bad for sex workers.
You don't feel bad for them. Okay. And why don't you feel bad for them?
Because it's an option. It's not forced.
What if it's the only option that they have, unfortunately?
Literally, selling your body is never an option. And I don't know who normalized that, but selling your body is not an option. Maybe it depends on the person, because to some people it's a great option. To me, it's zero tolerance.
Okay. So you feel like sex work. Okay. Well, I mean, if more, I guess, if the system were able to just allow people to self-actualize, like T.S. Madison, who, was a sex worker and all these things, but she was able to create the opportunity herself. And even though she created that opportunity, she still feels and deals with a lot of hardships to this day. So it's kind of like, when people even want to try to do those things, there's all these oppositions against them by the system that makes it harder for them. And then when they speak about that, people just telling them to shut up and, just work harder. But they do work harder. Like, don't you understand? Black people have told their children that they have to work hard and go to college and do these things. How that mentally and emotionally distresses them when they fail on a test or something, because, oh my God, I'm falling into the narrative of being black, which means I'm uneducated, which means that I'm ignorant, which means that I'm going to end up dying someday by the hands of somebody else who's black. So I guess we can... Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have nothing to say.
Okay, so let's talk about Christianity. Let's talk about that. And I'm going to be respectful on the Christianity part for you since you are here. What are your thoughts on that? God first, God supremacy. What are your
I
thoughts
love
on
Jesus
that?
Christ.
Love Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yes.
So in what ways do you feel like you walk out Christ energy?
By believing in myself and by believing that there's a purpose for my life on this earth and that I'm not just a wandering body
Right.
that is aging out and will pass away with nothing to have remembered or at least smile about at any point in my life.
So what about some of the other forms of Christ, like literally showing love to other people, to protect other people, especially those who don't have any protection or don't have anyone looking after them? Like, how do you operate in those ways for people?
I love transgenders.
How do you love transgenders? How?
Because God created them.
How can God create them if there's some sort of demonic mental illness type of thing. I mean, God doesn't make mistakes, right? So would you say that God made a mistake when he created them?
So as I said in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
Transformers and people under the homosexual umbrella,
Mm-hmm.
they cannot help that they were born with a mental illness. They cannot help that. No one is condemning them to hell, first of all, because it's not our place. Second of all, because for my understanding, it's the Democrats that are telling you to be this way or the other way. Republicans are saying, come to your common senses and wake up. It's not oh, I'm glad I remember this, because people love to tell me all the time, oh, the first time I smiled. People love to tell me all the time that Republicans are going to call me all of these derogatory terms and that they're going to call me a NIGGR slave worker and things like that. But I'm not going to go on the race part. Republicans do not hate the person. It is literally just the sin. What is the sin? The sin is the fact that you are actively perpetuating, or I don't want to say perpetuating because we're going to deal with it on a self level. You are actively affirming something that is wrong. And I guess now I'm having a epiphany, because it's like I kind of feel sad for them. I kind of feel sad the same way people look at me and feel sad. And I guess in those forms is where we can kind of connect on our emotions on that point. But I feel sad for them because not only are they choosing, for example, let's say someone wants to be an internet prostitute. Okay, I don't care if someone wants to sell their body on OnlyFans. I give less than one down. I could care less. What the issue is when you're surrounded by people who are doing the same things, you're not going to feel like what you're doing is wrong. You're going to feel like it's okay, because whether you're doing it, and this is the crazy part, a lot of people say they do things for the money, and that justifies it, which is why I made it a point earlier to say that Republicans aren't driven by money. We're driven by God. Money is just the most tangible item on earth that God can use to bless someone, anyone, anybody. Money is everywhere, and we're in America. So Republicans just can't help that financial blessings come, because it's the most tangible item on earth. When you're surrounded by people who only affirm the negative, low vibration thoughts of you, why, when, and this isn't a question, this is something that I would say with another conservative, why, when they encounter someone like me, like, yes, I'm very abrasive, I'm very bold, quote unquote, but it's just because I don't have 10 minutes to rephrase and be politically correct when I can just get it out to you, and either you get it or not. In most cases, people don't get it. Liberals don't get it. I feel sorry for them, because how they look at me is how I look at them. And it's sad. And I want the best for them. I want them to believe that, as far as like sex workers, I want them to believe that they're more than their body. They're more than sucking a dick and eating a nut and catching HIV. Wow. They're more than that. Just like they're more than reality TV, and they're more than stripping themselves down on the internet. I say that religion is sensitive for me because it has been another guide. I know that people call it a fantasy book, whatever they want to call it. It's been the first moral compass for me to live by. And I think that when I think about Jesus Christ, whether he's white, black, Asian, whatever, it doesn't matter. When I think about Jesus Christ, I think about someone who wants me to prosper and be the best. And I have this firm belief in my soul, in my spirit, that if what liberal Democrats are doing is, and if the success that they're gaining is from God, I don't see how, or I will not see how I'm excluded out of that, because I'm preaching morals, God, and economy. Um, Black people, it's a cultural issue. It's not a political issue. Homosexuals, people want to preach, let's be one. There's a lot of homophobia going on in the LGBT flag group, umbrella group, delusion group. I really don't know what to say, because everything I've said, I've just been straightforward with it. I don't really know what to say other than, yeah, homosexuals are delusional. Black people who are liberal, under liberal brainwash, they're definitely delusional if they think that they deserve anything. Do I believe Black people? I don't want to talk about Black people no more. Let's continue.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't want to talk over you. Did you got all your points out? Because I really want to try to be respectful and check myself, honestly.
Yeah, I got it out.
Okay. Okay. I wrote some things down. Um, when you started off, when we talked about Christianity and how you said you love trans people and that you love the sinner, but you hate the sin, you're still going to find a way to ostracize the sinner, because there are people who literally disown their kids. And they disown their kids and their family members not because they feel morally obligated by God, but because of what people are going to think about them, and they don't want to be
I would
connected
have
to
disowned
that,
my kids.
to socially. So if your daughter was trans and she decided that she was going to be trans and she knew that she was trans and there was nothing you could do about it, are you going to allow her to come to Thanksgiving in her trans expression? Are you going to allow her to come to Christmas? Or are you
Of
going to tell
course,
her, okay? So what would the conversation be like? Would you honor her pronouns, or would you still call her by her birth name?
I'm not honoring pronouns.
So she would still be he to you and him, and this is my son. You would still operate in that way.
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay. But you say you love them. Okay. We talked about loving Jesus and Jesus just being the person who um, you look up to and that you inspire to live out the Christ energy. But then when the opportunities come about for you to do that, it seems as though you don't really do that, because one thing that Christ was, he was empathetic, which means he was in tune with his emotions, which is why he
I'm not
talked about
empathetic.
the my
I'm not empathetic.
we understand that, but my thing is, how can you follow Jesus if you don't even operate in the one thing that he called for you to do? He said to renew your mind and to not harden your heart. So how can you really operate in Jesus if you don't at least have those two principles, and that's in the Bible?
I like to believe that I'm closer to Jesus than any liberal homosexuals.
Well, you can believe that if you want to, but I'm talking about how do you actually manifest that for everybody to see, because Christ says to let your light shine, not to hide your light, not just for you to know your light, but they will know you by your works. So what kind of works have you done
So I have
that
to be affirmed through my sexuality and my race.
be affirmed through your, I mean, being affirmed of being a black person and loving being black
I'm
despite,
half Filipino as well.
okay, we are half Filipino, but you are also half black, and we're talking about the black issue. So, learning how to love the black side of you, despite how the world, because I had a
I love
conversation with,
myself 100%.
all right, I had a conversation with
I
someone,
never experienced depression.
okay, I had a conversation with someone else who was a really close friend of mine, who also is someone who's trying to understand the African American experience and comes from a different continent. And even when they came over here, they told them to watch out for the black people in America. So yes, being able to love your blackness and to be able to know your history, not just the slavery part, but the parts that were strong. Again, in the 60s and 70s, black people pulled up their bootstraps. They had the Black Panthers movement. These were responses to the system, and the system fucked them up. And the same thing for LGBT people. Like the fact that people literally reduce you to your sexuality. They don't even get to know you. They're not judge you by the content of your character and how you really operate. But the fact that you're a trans person, or that you're a lesbian, or that you're gay, you're doing this. And you say you love Jesus, but Jesus was able to see the humanity in other people. So how can you not see the humanity in LGBT people? Because
Because you can't help people that don't want to be helped.
LGBT people, which we really don't need, but a lot of them want affirmation and they want the love. What's wrong with y'all actually operating in what Christ asks you to do? And then
what I'm doing is very loving
by saying the transformers are sick and they're okay. So what
because I haven't called anyone a faggot or a sissy once.
Well, you just said it now, so you did say it once technically, but I mean, this is the viewpoint, because I mean, you again, what is so wrong about just honoring that people are natural? That's the thing. It's like there has to be something. Like there's no way that somebody can be gay naturally. There's no way that somebody.
What
can
is
be
so wrong with
naturally.
just accepting what you're born with? I think we should get to the root cause.
Well, okay. Well, I think when it comes down to spirituality, that transcends the box and the rigid thinking of a lot of different religions. When you do that and you do your research and study to show yourself approved, you start to see how other people on the planet, along with us, honor those things. They honored LGBT people, even in Africa.
I wouldn't honor a liberal to save my life.
Well, and you have every right to.
That's literally what you have Barack Obama for.
You have every right to believe what you want to believe, and I told you that. Like, that's why I have you up here, and I told them that they might be triggering.
It's funny because a lot of people say that, like they say that, but literally, I think the black conservative is probably the strongest black person in the entire culture, because we get a lot from this notion from black people in general, such as, like I said, BLM, Black Panther bullshit. We get that vibe, or at least we hear that, but the vibe is never connected. And
talking about the vibe of unity.
The vibe of unity is never connected, and it is an issue when. So basically, this what this whole entire conversation has been exactly what brought me into being a Republican. It's the fact that you can't have your own ideas, because if you do, okay, once RonVuggotta is gone, yeah, Ron is an ignorant motherfucker. He's very uneducated. I'm pretty sure deep down in your heart, you do feel like I'm full of shit. I get that. But at the same time, with me being quote unquote full of shit, I'm having the conversation with people who think that I'm full of shit. Why can't people from the other side want to have this conversation and accept the fact that I call them a transformer? Do people think that I'm blind to the fact that I get Uncle Tom, the fact that I get uneducated, the fact that I get, and not just me, all black conservatives, we get the same BS from black people all the time. And the biggest trip is I'm not ever falling back under the delusion of BLM and homosexual liberation, because I've already been on that side of life. So this conversation, in my opinion, is just, it turned into wanting to convert me back into something where, because it's like we bring up the facts, but when I bring up facts like, okay,
what facts have you brought besides your opinion?
I couldn't bring in any facts. You've been doing majority of the talking. I've just been staring at my screen, going dizzy. Listening to you talk.
Ron, bro, I just let you talk, and I just let you rock. There were times where I was speaking, you cut me off, and I did that. It's going to happen in the conversation. But my thing is, once again, you got to bring the facts. Like, why not use this opportunity? Because once again, you want to have
Yeah,
conversations
and I
with
guess what I'm
conservative
saying
people.
is
Wait. You
this
want to
isn't
have
the opportunity for me because I'm not finna get converted into like
nobody?
Democrat
Okay,
demise.
okay.
I'm
Hold on.
not
Hello,
going to accept the fact
sir,
that you want to bring up all of
sir.
these historic timelines and dates, and no one ever brings up the Republican past. And then once we bring up the Republican past,
You
guess
haven't
what?
brought it up one
Well, now it's
time.
about the now.
You haven't brought up one time.
I literally had no
You brought
art.
up you brought up Republican viewpoints. You didn't bring up any political facts to back up your stuff. What about the fact that you told me about the black woman who fucked up the Democratic Party? Why didn't you bring that into the conversation? Remember that one? Why didn't you bring that up? Like, once again, we're bringing up historical things. Again, if I understand, I'm I'm not trying to convert you because I've told you plenty of times you gonna do
It's
you and
literally
I'm
coming
gonna
off
do
as
me.
conversion vibes. It's
Okay,
literally coming
okay,
off as
okay. Well,
rather
is it
than saying how we
conversion?
feel, I
Mm-hmm.
say how I feel, and it comes with, see, that's that ignorant thinking. That's that. And
I mean, but
my
Ron,
kickback to you
when you get up
was
here, listen,
I asked
listen.
for you to just respect religion. That was my only ever kickback
And did I not
to
respect
you.
religion? Did I, when we talked about the religion, did I not respect, at least give you that decency and that respect? Here's the issue and the problem here, Ron. You want people to respect you, but you can't even. You came up here and you said, first of all, which was a red flag, which I'm glad I told them they're gonna be triggered. Oh, transformers and dykes and all this stuff. It's like, whoa, where's the respect with that? But I still let you rock. I didn't cut you off
Are
and say,
you a
hey.
transformer?
No, but I know trans people in my life personally. I know your
And you're
life
just as
personally.
ignorant to affirm them. So, and you're ignorant to me now to affirm them because at first, when I
Mm-hmm.
came out with how I
Mm-hmm.
truly felt,
Mm-hmm.
I viewed it as you were the leeway. You are, I didn't view it as, oh, you were taking a liberal, you were going to be the knight in shining armor for whether you had transsexuals,
Ron,
transvestites, bulldagger friends or
Ron,
not.
Ron.
It's
Listen.
still me.
Okay, but and once again, you are look. First of all, you
And
are
if you were
here.
going to give me kickback, you should have just included an actual liberal.
Ron, here is the thing. I said it in the beginning. First of all, you told me that I have liberal leaning thoughts anyway. You even feel like I'm low key a liberal anyway. So
No,
I
I
don't
don't
even.
think
I
you
don't.
are.
I
You
don't even.
literally are. You believe in this
Okay.
whole
But listen.
black narrative
But
and
the
this
black
whole
narrative
homosexual
is backed up by
narrative,
fact. It's backed up by
ignoring the gay
fact. It's
agenda,
backed up a fact. It's backed up with
ignoring
fact.
black people are trying to segregate
Is backed up
America.
the fact. It's not. It's black people saying, hello, the people who did this to us need to be held accountable, and they never have. That is the issue and the
They have
problem.
been held accountable.
How?
You can go back to, let's say, 1964, a Democrat president, Lyndon B. Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
initiated the wanting to catch up a historically held back race of people,
Mm-hmm.
black people, initiating acts. And since then, we've invested trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars into
To blackness?
catching up not just blackness, but as time proceeds, then the minority as a group, which includes Hispanics,
Mm-hmm.
um it wouldn't really include Asians because they're the dominating culture,
Mm-hmm.
race in America as of
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um there's been trillions and trillions of dollars pumped into minority communities, and yet there's still this repeated cycle of, or as people call it, a generational curse.
Mm-hmm.
As we bring up history, people want to talk about things like Jim Crow
Mm-hmm.
and redlining
Mm-hmm.
and whatever else, segregation, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
which were started by Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
The kickoff lead to freeing slaves were led by Republicans. And as a matter of fact, the first 23 or 22 congressmen ever in government were black Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as if Republicans have always been the ones wanting to whip black people on the back and keep them down. It's the delusion that people want to defend a party that has the true history of segregation, the true history of dividing the black household, the true history of like redlining, cutting black people out of opportunities to build assets and equity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm supposed to sit here and feel sorry for, it's like if black people could do research on their own and understand that, okay, I do have a very radical way of expressing how I feel when it comes to like homosexuals.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like black people being ignorant to the facts,
Mm-hmm.
I truly don't get how you're rooting for the team that's been ass raping you your whole and your ancestors your whole entire life, and you still ride or die for them. And it's just everything that I'm saying is mental illness. I don't care if nobody understands. My whole premises of building my conservative platform was for me to follow other like-minded people and for other like-minded people to talk to me. Now, if liberals want to sit here and flat my videos and get my shit taken down, that's cool, because when you stop my bag, you're only stopping your bag, especially when you claim that you're the ones being held back. It's funny how
Uh-oh. Hello? Okay.
I really don't have nothing else to say, honestly, because it's just a simple fact that like um people on the liberal side aren't ready, is what I'm realizing. They aren't ready to advance and upgrade. I feel like, in my opinion, without any facts, just objectively looking around, the circumstances of the black culture is not getting any better. My views are still the same, that it's this whole BLM, black queen, black king thing is fraudulent. And they will progress more in life if they took more accountability and just decide that, yeah, I want better for myself, so let's move on. Because unless somebody's about to tell me a law that says a black person cannot do anything in this way, shape, or form, I mean, under President Trump alone, we've seen a 9% increase in SBA small business loans to black businesses, and a 400% increase in black businesses in general. Whereas now, or under a Democrat leadership.
But that's why I said earlier, Ron, and that's why it be given the illusion that I'm long-winded, is because there's so much evidence that is contrary to what it is that you believe and what you say. That is the thing that people are upset about.
I don't believe it.
We can't, but it's, you talk about being objective. When you're being objective, it means that you have to look at everything to see both sides of it. The fact that I'm having a conversation with you is allowing me the opportunity to try to understand where you're coming from. That was the purpose
You
of this
literally just only
live.
gave me where you're coming from. That's the, yes, so you perfectly said it. Instead of where I'm coming from, I gave you my answers and you made everything. I gave you intentionally short, simple, straight to the point answers, and you flipped it about where you're coming from,
But
speaking on behalf of liberals.
that's because the answers you gave have no substance. They have no substance. There is nothing in it. It's very, very shallow. It's very, very shallow, and it talks about the covertness of it all. Like I was trying
Well,
to say
if I'm just a
before.
shallow
Hold on,
person,
hold on. I'm not
that's
saying,
fine, because
sir,
there are people in my life
Ron, I
and
didn't.
on this internet
Okay, you're
stuff
taking it
that
personal now,
believe the
Ron.
opposite.
I didn't
So
say you as
you
a
literally just
person.
said it, and it's fine.
It's
People think
it's
that I'm mentally tripping, but you know, it goes
Ron,
back to my
Ron,
phrase.
you're not gonna control the narrative on this one. Let me explain to you what I said out of my own mouth, and let it help you understand. However you interpret it
It doesn't
afterwards,
really
that's
matter.
on you. Okay, well, I'm going to give you just grace and mercy with that. The way that I did it, I'm saying I'm critiquing the thoughts and the opinions that you're putting out there. When you put them on a public platform, you cannot be upset when people respond. It's a public platform. If you don't want liberal people to respond, then maybe you should think about getting a Discord or something where there is a group of only these people who can exclusively get in. But when you create this group to actually talk about people and not
I
even
wish
offer any
people would
form
just
of
ship these
solution,
liberals to Antarctica.
I just wish that people would be more responsible, because both are like, that's why I say I don't support the political system, because once again, and even Trap brought it up in a comment where he said, where is it at, about people switching sides. The part he said, today as Republicans we have to worry about, back then it was the Democrats. That's why it is systematic racism, and somebody got to cater to the niggas, somebody got to cater to the LGBT, somebody has to cater to the
Nobody literally
undesirables
has
of
to.
the Democratic Party is.
And as
And
I
the
said in my
reason
video
why
before,
the reason
all
why Joe
liberals
Bud the reason why
will
Joe
just
Budden
sit on
the
their
reason
ass looking
but
stupid at the end of their lifetime.
Bro, how can people sit on their ass when they're living the facts and you're coming through with an opinion that can't even be substantiated at all? Once again, if this was a court of law, the one thing that the Republicans believe in, once again, you would lose. You would lose because you
That's
have to
fine.
bring the fact. So why get up here and basically speak what is known as rhetoric? That's basically what it is. It's not backed up with any
Because I
substantial
thought I was
thing.
just going to share my
And then
views.
yeah, but at the same time, it's a conversation, which means that I'm going to ask you questions and I'm going to challenge those things. I mean, what we're doing right now is what we've been doing over our past conversations. I mean, hello, this is just on a public platform now. That's it. So I'm still literally keeping the same energy.
You
I
just
didn't
sound
offer,
very emotional, just like every liberal. They're very emotional,
what you're not going to
and
do is
their
sit up here and
response to me,
gaslight people based off of what you say. And
it's
and,
not
and here's the
gaslighting.
thing. Here's the thing, Ron, I respect the things you asked me to respect. I could have chosen not to. I could have really chosen to act like what you consider a liberal and really go
Well,
there.
you
But
haven't
I
by
did.
acknowledging that you are being the bigger
No.
person by respecting my boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. So my thing is, you can't sit up here and say that I'm doing something when I literally have shown you respect. What you're not gonna do
I
is sit up
disagree.
here and and that's the beauty of America. You can disagree, but if you're gonna disagree, at least bring up facts. There is this point now where people get up here. You talking about mental illness. Mental illness is getting up here and speaking about something that you don't understand and that you don't know, as if you do. That's mental illness. How can you get up here and argue about this stuff? See, it would have been different, Ryan, if you would have researched and did the history on blackness and then find a way to counter that. You haven't even brought any of those things up. I have brought up things factually that provide a
And they
timeline,
made no difference.
because the people don't want to be accountable. That's the real issue. The people that are in power do not want to be accountable.
Accountable
Capitalism,
for black people not wanting to.
accountable for them basically just rectifying what was done to black people. That's it. All black people are asking for is their resources and what was owed to them by the great American forefathers. That is it. That is it. And there are people, white Americans now, statistically and factually speaking, that are beneficiaries from stolen land. This is factual. This is relevant. This is 2021, 2022. So the fact that this is still happening, but if America ass was wanted some shit, they go get they shit. They go get they shit. It's just like Social Security. I mean, what is it, Social Security or something like that? Like when you owe somebody, they'll take money out your account with a quick, fast, in a hurry. So when America wants something, it's okay. But when it's time for America to actually honor what they said they was going to do, and they never did. And then when black people try to self-actualize, when black people try to be the change that they want to see, it's snuffed out by the system. I mean, we've seen this before. You have leaders like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Angela Davis. You have all these people who said, okay, you know what? Pull us up by our bootstraps. We ain't got none. We about to create some shit. You had people who came together and stood in solidarity. Going to your point about blackness now, I will agree. Blackness is very broken. This is the first time ever in blackness where black people are hurting each other, where they're perpetuating homophobia and transphobia within the black community. And you're still doing
Honestly,
it
I
with the,
love it.
but see, so don't you think that you're actually subscribing to some of the conservative viewpoints that
I'm
are really
not. I love
destructive
it
within
because it proves
blackness?
my point. It proves my point. That's why I love it. They further prove my point that they are about true community. They are about truly progressing the culture into wealth and status. They're only concerned about being stuck in the gutter, which a lot of that's also false to say that there are laws holding black people behind, because majority of black culture is in middle upper class than in poverty. So there had to have been some work by someone done somewhere, as far as the black culture progressing. So it can't be true that black middle class and upper class is higher than poverty, while at the same time someone is holding black people back. That can't be true at the same time.
Well, two things can be true at the same time. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, so two things can be true at the same time. For example, that's why I like having this conversation, because your expression of blackness is different. You haven't
I'm
experienced
also
any.
half mixed.
Oh,
I'm half Filipino.
oh, okay. You being half black, half Filipino, but we're talking about the black part right now. That is the issue right now. You haven't experienced any racism outside of
I like to
you.
refer to colored people
Okay.
because I don't like to exclude the Hispanics or the
Okay.
Asians.
Okay.
I'm not
Well.
just a one person build up.
Okay, Ron. Let's just also do this. Once again, I've been respectful to let you talk. I haven't interjected when you talk. I let you have
I
the
don't
floor.
really
Let
care
you
about the
rock.
respect factor
So,
anymore. That kind of died down in the mid conversation.
but the fact that I tried to be accountable. See how I'm
Well,
being
you didn't try
accountable?
hard enough. So let's
So,
keep it going.
okay, Ron. I really am trying to. That's my goal, to have a conversation. And I'm sorry that you interpreted passion as a
Don't be
form of being
sorry. Just do you
disrespectful,
and just
being
just
as far
continue.
as being disrespectful. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna continue to be the bigger person. I'm gonna continue to be and give
You're
grace
older
and
than me.
actually.
You should be leading by example. So yes,
Well,
continue.
well, according to you, I'm mentally ill, so I shouldn't be leading. And on top of that, if you want to play that game, you're in the mentally ill boat as well. So why don't you go ahead and renounce your sexuality? Why don't you go ahead and show the homosexuals how to actually get in touch with Christ by not being a homosexual anymore? So why don't you do that? Why don't you go ahead and convert yourself, since Christ is the love and the strength of your goddamn life? Why don't you actually crack LGBT people face? Why not
I can
actually
agree
be
that I may suffer from
that?
like mental illness as far as the
So how are you gonna sit up
homosexuality.
here and talk to me about mental illness when you have the same thing that I have? So what's going on?
Well, they say it takes one
Does
to
the
know one.
well, I mean that. Well, I guess I'm glad you know that you gay. I'm glad you know that too. I'm glad you know that you're mentally ill. And I mean, a lot of people in the comments can say that. I'm trying to find a common ground for us to
I think
understand.
you're trying to find
So,
liberation for.
oh,
I don't
people,
think any. I don't see where in any point.
Republican
I
people
don't.
are shook at LGBT people and black people actually self-actualizing, and they are
I don't
afraid,
see in any way where
that
you could relate
accountability
to
is coming their way
Republicans
because y'all don't
than
have
how
any
you can
facts.
relate to liberals. So
Hello, I am an LGBT person who wants to live my best LGBT life, and there are people out there who don't like that. So
you're
who's to
literally
sit up
living
here?
your worst life.
That's according to you. That's according to, just like how you believe you live in your best life and you still same gender loving. So who's to say that that's exempt because you're Republican?
No,
So because you're a Christian, you love God, it makes you
because
exempt.
you condone the gay agenda and all of this
The only gay
Black
agenda I
Lives
subscribe
culture
to,
segregation.
the only it's white people, a lot of white people that want segregation.
I
That's why
love
whatever
white
white
people.
people, of course you do, girl. They paying you, and you're their
I
spokesman.
literally
So that's perfectly
am
fine.
not
So
on
of course they're
anybody's
gonna
payroll.
not yet. They're gonna love you. Candace Owens already sinking, so you know you're already next. I already
So
know
can
it's
I
the whole
not love
grifter
white
thing.
people?
I'm not saying you can't love white
You
people.
just said I can't love white people
I
unless it's for money.
I'm talking about the people that you are subscribed to. I ain't
Because
talking
what
about
about the
white
white
people
people
in
who haven't
general.
done anything to black people?
Hello, I'm not the one that's confused about white people. I'm talking about the Republican Party and a lot of the viewpoints that they share. Just
I
like
love
during slavery
Republicans.
and the Underground Railroad, there were white people that literally put their life on the line because they actually
And
understood the
they were
facts and
probably
didn't speak out
Republican.
the side of their damn neck. So why are they not doing it now? Why aren't Republicans actually doing the Christ work now? They're not.
Because
Why
you
not?
can't help people that don't want to be helped.
Y'all not even helping. Y'all not even have a form of helping. Y'all not even emotionally available to even
The
help
helping
people.
is introducing common sense.
But y'all don't have common sense because y'all can't bring up no facts. And you're mentally ill. So how can you have common sense if you're mentally ill?
And how can I accept common sense from someone who is also mentally ill?
So I guess we both fucked up in the game then, right?
I'm not referring you as mentally ill. I called you ignorant to be exact. I'm referring to transgenders.
But you just said you're mentally ill by being gay. So that means that in the same
I'm not
respect, I
affirming that
am
I'm mentally
LGBT, I'm
ill.
gay,
I'm
so I'm
just
mentally ill.
acknowledging that if you would like to think that I'm mentally ill, then I'll go along with it.
Ryan, this is the thing that a lot of people are going to have to understand. It's okay for you to have an opinion, but you can't get mad when your opinion get challenged by other people. And
I'm
at
not mad.
least, not yet, because you was mad when they snatched your shit down. So you was upset at that moment. Let's not act like that. You was
But
talking to
that's
God and
different
everything.
because that has to do with my freedom of speech and
Okay,
as
but your freedom,
well.
but there's a difference between freedom of speech and hate
I
speech. There's a
literally did
difference in
not
that.
tell anyone to put a gun to a damn dyke and
But it
blow their
doesn't.
brains out.
But when you say, but when you sit
But
up
you
here,
can literally
excuse
hear
me. But when you sit up
you
there,
can literally hear
Ryan,
liberals say
Ryan.
how much, like on my first video, one of the comments I get is, "Oh yeah, you finna have a lot of hate crimes come at you." You literally only see those hate crime tactics come from the left side of life, the
So what do you then
liberals.
say when they come through with the videos and the facts to prove how there is transphobia and homophobia? And you just admitted and said that there was transphobia and homophobia within the black community. So there is still forms of that. They had to learn that hatred from somewhere. That's what I don't understand. Like,
It's
once
not
again,
normal. I don't want to keep talking about like liberal homosexuals. They're not normal. They're demonic instilled, and I have
but you
no
gay though.
desire to
But
be
you
cool
gay
with
though.
any of them.
But you gay though.
Me being gay has nothing to do with life, God, and
Really,
economy.
really. But then but yet a trans person's life has everything to do with that's against that. That's stopping your life. That's stopping your bag. That's stopping your flow.
It's
Like,
not stopping my bag. I'm just
and
asked
then
about
when
my
y'all sit up here,
opinions.
yeah. But again, this is a
If anything, liberals
conversation.
give me a bag. So if anything, like liberals give me a bag.
I mean, you use liberals as a way for your talking points to continue the rhetoric of a lot of Republican people who don't bring up any facts. They're speaking out the side of their necks because they understand, just like in the 60s and 70s, black people, LGBT people, women's rights, anti-war efforts are now coming up. So all of your ways of making money, which is off the backs of oppressed people systematically, is coming to an end. Y'all about to realize what equality feels like, and y'all don't want that because for so long, historically, these white people and those who subscribe to the white narrative because they want the money, because
I
they don't,
love white people.
of course, you don't want to be a nigga no more. So of course you're gonna be able to go ahead and go to the white
Well,
side,
I'm
girl. Fuck
not
all that.
fully a black person. I'm
But
half
you've had the
Filipino.
nigga. But you've had the nigga experience though. You've had the
Yeah,
nigga experience.
I've had guns held up to my head
That's the
by a
nigga
black person.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There are other ones
I've
too.
cried for my life thinking that I was gonna die. Yeah, exactly, a nigga experience. So let's
Yeah,
continue.
that whole thing is coming from the inside and the outside. So it's the point where blackness is struggling within itself because damn, I can't trust people who look like me, and I definitely can't trust the people outside of me because of
And
what's
I
going
definitely
on.
don't condone trusting people based on their color. That's not smart.
You say it's not smart to what? Say it again for me, please.
To seek comfort from someone who literally only shares your skin tone.
That's fine. That's fine. Again, Ryan, I already told you, you already have the right to do what you want to do. But when you say certain things, and that's why people, once again, are looking back at the past and seeing the timeline. Like, when people sit up here and say, oh, trans people are not good people, I wouldn't want trans people around my kids, it builds this
I
fear.
wouldn't either.
But see, it builds a fear narrative around that. So
They took my
then,
video down,
so,
y'all, because I said I wouldn't hire a transformer.
okay, Aries said, and I do understand,
All
he
anyone
feels
had to do was
disrespected
just make a
because
response
you are
video.
only
That's
acknowledging
literally all
one
they had
side
to
of
do.
it and not him as his fool. I can understand that, Aries, but once again, there has to be something of substance there. You are literally talking about the experiences of other people, and you haven't even studied yourself. It's like basically taking a
It's
test,
nothing to
and you
study.
haven't, and you haven't, and you
There's
haven't
literally nothing
studied.
to study.
I mean, it could be so simple as just simply respecting people, just simply respecting people's ways
They
of life,
don't
especially.
LGBTs don't respect and BLMs don't respect America. So it's just giving it back.
But
Next.
how they're not respecting America? How? When America hasn't respected them, it's a response to bullshit. That's what it is. I mean, again, okay. Somebody, what did he say? Because I want to get in some of the comments too. Look, Ron, again, you have a right to believe what you want to believe.
Yeah.
My goal was trying to understand both sides, but
I feel like I really just got a lecture out of you. I really feel like, yeah, I just got a lecture. So
it was not. I mean, you have simple things that you're saying, and I like to go in depth. I wasn't gonna have no simple ass surface
well,
level
it's not the
conversation.
fact that
And
it's
we've had these
simple,
type
it's
of
just
conversations before in the
straightforward.
past, so I don't understand. I already told you what the conversation was going to be like. We've literally had conversations like this in the past for hours, so I don't understand where this whole ideology is coming from.
One, I'm not expressing my personal life, so that may be afflicting you.
But you're expressing your personal views that align with your life and the way that you live.
They literally do not affect me.
Okay, they haven't affected you yet.
They literally won't. And that's what I also don't like from liberals, that they always say, oh yeah, just wait for the moment, just wait for the moment. And it's like, again, just like, oh, all the Black Lives Matter. But there's literally
look
a
at
group of
Omarosa.
blue
Where's she
people
at? And she's
that
the same
are,
thing. Look at Herschel Walker.
there's
Where he
literally a
at? The
group
same
of Black
thing.
people who say to Black conservatives, oh yeah, so basically we're just going to wait until you have that moment. And we can't wait until you have that moment. I'm not looking for that moment. I'm not
I'm not
expecting that
saying
moment.
that I'm not
You're
saying
not saying it, but you're indirectly affirming that energy, because again, like you said, not yet. That's one of the many things that gets repeated. Oh yeah, so you're gonna have it, and it's like y'all want some bad shit to happen to me.
Okay.
When I haven't said one time someone hold a Glock 19 to a transformer head and blow their brains out. I've never said anything like that ever in life.
Sir, when I said the nigga experience, you low key had the nigga experience. We like with them.
I high key had the nigga experience.
That's what I'm saying. So
I've had a gun held to my head by a Black person.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the other nigga experiences too, dealing with some of the racism. You may not have to deal with that, but what do you then say to darker skinned Black people who have to deal with those? Once again, your viewpoint of America and your life is okay.
Racism is a culture issue, because a dark skinned person will only feel like any kind of way because somebody their own color putting them down.
Why are you literally disrespecting the opinions and viewpoints and expression and lived expression, which is fact, about what has happened?
That's how I feel. We can move on to the next topic, because I'm not changing my view on it.
Okay, well, I didn't have you to come. I didn't sit up here to try to convert you. My whole goal was to be able to have this conversation and let people come by and see it and question themselves, especially with the facts. I thought that you were going to bring some facts, because you told me you was going to bring facts. That's the thing. Like, if you are walking in truth, if you are walking in something that can literally change the lives of LGBT people and Black people, your burden of proof was to try to help us understand how being Republican and subscribing to these narratives
they'll
can
thank me
actually
later.
benefit Black
I know that
people.
liberals are too hard-headed to like accept something different, especially something as radical as shape-shifting their whole reality mindset to become Republican.
Something different, but I mean, it's liberal.
I am blessed by God.
Conservative. There's nothing.
Thank you to Candace Owens for helping me escape the Democrat plantation. I don't think ever in a million years I would have ever sat here and thought, whoa, I would be a Republican. Like, I'm anti-Obama, anti-Democrats. And I thank people like Candace Owens. I want to get that on record. So one day, if I ever meet her, I'll be able to be like, see, I've been talking about you.
That's fine.
Two, yeah, I don't make liberal content. Liberals are too hard-headed to even accept any kind of information. If anything, I do have one thing that I love to hear liberals call me.
If you ain't bring up any facts, like the facts is supposed to help people understand. Like, you can't just do a broad generalization and then be like, oh, what's going on? When you are actually speaking with something, you actually bring up the facts to help substantiate that.
Get your mind right. Okay, go take them silicones out and take them nails off. And on my videos, I have left up. I left up my older content where I did makeup and all of that, just to show people that it's possible. But you can, it's like what, I don't know who started this, but if someone said something about You can walk something to some water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, you can lead a horse
That's
to
all
water,
it
but you can't
is.
make it
I
drink.
I can tell you how I feel,
But my
but
thing
I
is, you
can't
ain't
make you
leading them to
drink.
no. You ain't leading them to no damn water. There is no water. There's nothing of substance to help them. Because if you really walking in truth, you
I
would be
think
able to
me
have the
telling a
steps to help
transgender
them.
that they need to stop their shit is helping them. I literally
No, you
think
need to
that it's
explain
helping
why they
them
should stop their shit. And all you saying is
because
mental
it's
illness that you
literally
can't
not
even back
right.
up.
It's a mental
You
affliction.
can't back that
But
up.
we can't go into that. We can't
Yeah,
go into
because
that.
you can't back it up, Ryan.
I don't have to back it up.
You
It's like
yes, you do.
common sense.
You want it's common sense to you, but you want
It's
LGBT
common
people
sense
to
to a
follow
lot of
you.
people
You
besides me.
yeah, but you want LGBT people to follow this common sense, but you don't have anything common for them to even follow. Honestly, like what is here's the thing: trans people walking every day, living their life of who they is, they're not hurting anybody. The fact that trans people's existence alone brings forth this type of
I feel so
fear
sorry for
and
them.
guilt and shame. They trust me. A lot of trans women don't need you to feel sorry for them because some of them are living their best life, being trans and being open and loving the men that love them. You get what I'm
And if they
saying?
can live their best life, then I know God will have blessings for me as
Of
well.
course, like here's the thing I want you to understand. Whatever you do is not gonna stop my blessings and vice versa. I understand you're gonna be blessed. Like I'm not pressed by that. Like we all gonna be blessed in our own individual ways. But don't try to stop trans people from being blessed because you don't understand
I'm not
them.
stopping
Don't
nothing.
stop black people from being blessed because you don't understand them. And once again, if you would do your research, that's why history is important,
And I'm
Ryan.
not the only black conservative in life.
You're absolutely.
It's literally
It's a
not
bunch of
me
people who don't
against
do
the
their
whole entire
research.
black culture.
It's a bunch of
So
people. It's a bunch of people who speak with no facts at all and just speak from opinion and try to use their opinions as fact. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean that you're right. There are three sides to everything. There to the truth. There's side A, side B, and then there's the objective truth that everybody can see. So my question to you is, I'm trying to get you to help us understand where is that middle ground to help you transition. To tell a trans person
I don't
to
want to talk
give up.
to a trans or a homosexual, a dyke. I don't want to talk to one. I don't want to
So
talk to a BLM, a black conservative, or a black curious conservative, colored, Hispanic, whatever. Oh yeah, we can talk all day. Like I said, my the closest friend to me in my whole life is a Democrat. We talk almost every single day, and yeah, I would trust
so
him
what do
with
you
my life.
so
So
what do you think so what do you think, and I guess this will be the last question, and then I don't know if you want to take any questions from the comments or if you would be okay with people
if the
coming up.
comments are full of liberal homosexuals, it's literally I don't want to hear nothing from them. So
Ooh, okay, so after this I'll let you go. I do appreciate you giving
they
me
can literally just
right. Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying this little. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to have this conversation. Despite how it's going to go, I'm trying to do the best I can to get my point across as far as the gray area. So the lasting question is this: how do you think that black people and LGBT people can like how do you feel, what does it look like with you coexisting? Like how can we from other opposite sides, because once again I'm playing, and I said in the beginning of the live that I was going to play devil's
that sounds
advocate
more
and I
like
was
a
going to be
question for your BLM
no
LGBT
no but
partner.
right well I'll ask them after I ask you. How, what do you think, like what does it look like for us being able to live in America and learn to
Drop
respect
your
each
identity
other?
politics.
So what are you going to compromise? Like there has to be is there any compromise or no compromise?
The only compromises that you have to make are with your
I'm talking
morals.
about your side, because you said for us to drop the identity. Okay, so let's say we drop the
That's not a
identity.
compromise. That's common sense. The
The
only compromise is with my morals. The compromise to not want to be promiscuous. The compromise to not want to sell myself for sex. The compromise to ignore the fact that people love me when I'm quote unquote liberation and that I've had I don't want to get into that
so basically what you're
because that's
saying is that
personal. I
so
don't want
what
to
you
get into that.
right
But
we're not but,
nonetheless,
but what I'm saying is
yes, dropping identity politics is not a sacrifice, it's just common sense.
okay. So once again, I'm asking on your end, like, what do you feel like you need to? Do you feel like you need to sacrifice and compromise on your end? Like, okay, the gay people's the trans people, let's have hypothetically, they decide to be on board with what you're saying. Let's say that what else did you say?
Okay.
The gay agenda
I
is
think I'm
done.
liking where this is going.
Black lives is over
Okay.
with. So they say that that's done. what are you going to offer to black people and oppressed groups of people to say, you know what, I'm okay with this. I can do this. What do you think you would
We
offer
gonna
them
talk
if they
about.
gave all that?
I'm gonna give them the best motivational speech about God and economy in America of that they ever heard in their life. As soon as they click over to common sense and drop them identity politics, shoot, we can sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours.
Okay. Okay, so you want them to sacrifice all that, and all you want to give in return is an introductory speech into their new life, and that's it?
Yeah, what am I supposed to do? Give them a handout?
Okay. Okay. Well, Ron, thank you. I know this is probably gonna be the last time we had this conversation, because I know you ready to talk to some conservative people, and
I'm definitely ready
right.
to
And I will
find
say
my
this.
conservative clients
I
and
will.
share this video with them to watch how literally
Right.
delusional
Mm,
you've entertained these people. I didn't know I was gonna get
mm,
played with on this live, so
mm.
it was interesting.
Right.
It was
Is it
interesting.
really being played, or is it the fact that you really couldn't stand on anything except your opinions, and that wasn't enough? I feel like that was the case. But I do thank you for entertaining us, for the liberal, evil, demonic homosexuals for at least 2 hours. I thank you for that. I wish you the best in your endeavors. I don't wish any ill harm on you, because once again, I'm about humanity, which means I can critique the thought processes, but but I'm not saying you as a person. Once again, I know that you and I are talking about the same thing. We literally had
We
conversation
literally are
about
not.
it. Yeah, but
It dawned on me at this conversation. We literally are not.
when it was public, then now
We
it's the
literally are
case.
not.
But here,
I don't get how
but I understand you're the game is on, the game face is on. You can't crack. You can't go under the pressure. You have to stand your ground, and you did a good job standing your ground. So the Republican Party is going to love you. You are the next. Move out the way, Christian Walker. Move out the way, Herschel Walker. Move out the way, Candace Owens. RonVuggotta is here to let us homosexuals know that our time is done, to let black people know that their time is done, and it's time to bring this country back into alignment with God,
I'm glad you
with
give me so much
guns, with
power.
grits, and all this other type of stuff. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And is there anything else you would like to say before you leave and I let the people on?
Yes. Jesus Christ, please bless these homosexuals. Please help them find you, and please bless their money, because I keep telling them that if they just get into economy, everybody will be happy. Forgive me of my sins. Forgive everybody of their sins in this chat room. And I want to say that I love you, God, and I appreciate your blessings of life every single day. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, you can click me out.
All right, then. Thank you. All right, goodbye. You got to hit the leave studio at the bottom, the red X button. Okay. Let's go ahead. All right, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, that was RonVuggotta. I told y'all I was going to be triggered. I told y'all was going to be triggered. I'm going to drop the link. Okay. Because I wanted to once again try to understand what's coming, the other side, the other perspective, but I felt like that didn't really. Where's the thing at? So I can, there we go, invite, and I'm gonna copy it. Because once again, we're speaking with the fact, like, these are people's lives here that we're talking about, y'all. People's lives. Okay, I just put the link down here, the StreamYard link, so if any of y'all want to come on, I low-key was going to try to set this like a podcast, because that's kind of like how my flow is on my channel. You just hear the audio, but, you know, Ron wanted to be seen, so I allowed that to happen. And once again, I'm going to be comfortable, okay? So, there's a lot we're missing. There is a lot that we're missing, and there's a lot that I know that I chose not to say out of respect for the conversation. And this is the thing, black people have always tried so hard to prove what was happening to them. So this conversation was a public thing for us to try to understand different expressions of blackness, but you're not going to deny other groups' perspectives of blackness in such a radical way. So does anybody want to hit the link and come on up? You ain't got to come up and be visual if you don't want to. Matter of fact, I want Aries and if TTB, I want y'all on the platform, because maybe y'all can help me understand where he's coming from in a perspective. Because again, I'm here to learn too, but my thing is we both should be learning, not just me. And I tried my best to really honor this, give this with honor and integrity and respect. I didn't want to go ahead and argue back and forth and make it a screaming match, because it always turns into that. But it always turns into that when it's time to provide the facts. When you hit with the facts, you feel offended. And it's not about controlling the narrative, it's about telling the truth. These are factual things that have been presented. And this is why black people get upset, and this is why LGBT people get upset, to the point to where black people don't even know how to, they're taking out their violence on each other, and the system would prefer that to happen. And my thing was trying to understand the different intersections of blackness. I need him on the season 2 of The King. See, I get it too, TTB. You about your money and your business. You very much on your Vince McMahon shit. So you gonna put things up that need the money. I mean, not the money, but to bring the views and the money. So I get that. That's a different perspective and a different way of thinking. But it's different when you literally disrespect people. People's experiences of life. Like, I have a trans sister in the comments here now, which I hope she hit the link too. Who literally have shared her experiences with me. But that's why I'm glad that I prefaced it and said what I said. And yeah, this is my first debate. Not even debate. It turned into a damn debate. I wanted it to be a conversation, but in a conversation, I want it to be an honest conversation. And I don't think there was a lot of honesty. Okay, oh Lord, come on. Do me a favor, Scotty. If you can, go to your settings, go to general, and click on the audio avatars. Click that to turn that off so you can come up as a. Well, fuck it. I might as well goddamn. Hold on. I might as well just do this my damn self. Fuck it. Hold on. I'm gonna bring you up, Scotty. Okay. Fuck it. All right, go ahead, Scotty.
Oh, I didn't even know I was up here.
Your thoughts?
Hold on, let me get my my earphones first, because I know I'm hella loud. Hold on.
Yeah, you is. Again, y'all can hit the link down below, because I want y'all to help me understand. Like, help me understand. Like, if there's some things that Ron was saying, and yes, there were some moments where I did cut him off, and I do apologize for that. And I gave grace and mercy, and he continued to do that as well. So this is the things that kind of stress me out when it comes down to conversations, because I'm realizing that in order to have genuine conversations, we're going to need people who are going to be open and honest. And you said not to be so long-winded, but it's hard not to be long-winded when there's so much facts. Like, you're speaking on something from a general, like, contemporary standpoint, not understanding how deeply ingrained it is. Like, I wouldn't have to be so long-winded if people would actually just be accountable. Like, they keep adding on to the long list. And of course, you don't have people who educate themselves. So with that being said, you have to bring forth the education. So I wish you would have been long-winded too. But go ahead, Scotty.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm not gonna be long, and normally I wouldn't even be up here this late, but I'm still on vacation. However, I feel like everybody is entitled to their opinions. They're entitled to, rep whatever they want to, whether it be liberal or conservative. But also in these conversations, they're going to always be a tad bit heated because we're not going to agree.
Right.
The problem with the problem that I have with that whole conversation is that I feel like there was a lot of contradictions in that whole conversation. You gay, but you deem other gay people as demonic figures. I don't get that. You want Christianity or religion to be respected, but you feel comfortable using terms like dyke and transformers and stuff like that. And we're supposed to sit here and listen and give you, grace on what you're saying. I think that the problem with that was, for me, is I can sit here and listen to whatever you say, whether I agree with it or not. But it's just the way that you deliver it to me. And you can't, on one hand, ask me to respect the way you live your life as far as religion and Christianity, but in the same breath, you disrespect the way that I live mine by using homophobic or transphobic terms. As you can see, there's someone in the comment section that is transgender that got offended. So you can speak your
Get to
piece,
you in a minute,
but
Roki.
at the same time you need to respect other people's piece as well when you speak it. And that is why I'm absolutely okay with never hearing or seeing him anywhere
Right,
ever again,
right.
because he has this condescending, combative presence about him that rubs me the wrong way. And not only that, he wasn't speaking from a factual place. It's all
Yeah.
things that it's all things like I could see if we were talking about things and it was just opinion rooted.
I muted your mic,
But
Roki,
you
for
were
a
actually
second.
coming in with factual things, and then you want to talk about don't you know back in the gap, the Democrats did this, the Democrats did that. We all know about the switching of the parties. We already know that. We all know if anybody has ever read anything about political history and things of that nature, we know that back in the day, the Democratic Party was absolutely the Republican Party of today, but it's no longer like that. So now we have to, you know, worry about the Republican people and what they stand for versus the Democratic. You know what I mean? Like, things have changed. It's not the same thing. And, you know, diagnosing everybody with mental illness because he don't agree with the with what they live with or how they live their life, and all of that other stuff was really mind-boggling and just crazy to me. And I just couldn't see it. Like, I don't see how you had the strength and the patience to sit up here and have a conversation with him,
But
because I
that,
would have shut the whole live down.
but see, I didn't want to do that, and that's the thing that, and I'm gonna unmute you too, Roki. If you want to mute your mic, or you can control it and stuff. But that's kind of why that's the issue, because when it comes down to black people have always been the ones to give grace, have always been the ones to show love and compassion. I mean, even in non-violent ways. It's to the point to where black people are being violent to themselves as opposed to being violent to the ones who did those things to them. So it's like having this conversation. Like, I allowed him to be himself. I didn't say what you're not finna do. You're not finna say transformer. You're not about to say. And he came up to saying all those words off the rip. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I told myself, I had a conversation with Kiki today. She's in the comments. Shout out to her. And I told people, like, y'all gonna be triggered by this conversation because I'm allowing this person to be himself. But at the same time, since you're being yourself, let me show up as myself. So I don't know if he thought I was going to just give him the opportunity to get up here and just call all type of LGBT people and black people all these derogatory things, and I was going to be like, okay, yeah, great, great. Like, no, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged because a lot of people can see, and maybe you're not the one that's seeing it because you want to disconnect from blackness so much because you've had the nigga experience. And once again, there are things that I know that I'm not saying publicly out of respect for him that would literally put a hold on all his stuff. I didn't do that. I could have, but I chose not to. So I'm grateful that this conversation happened because there are people who are going to watch this video in the future and be like, what the fuck? Like, really? And there are people in blackness who think this way. And maybe I'm just empathetic and have some sort of empathy for black conservatives because that's a very confusing nature, especially when they don't even do their own fucking history and research on black conservative people and how they came to be. And if they did, they will understand that that is literally subscribed from the slave narrative of the white man is always God, better than us, and if we act a certain way, if we assimilate to what he wants, then we will be rewarded. And you literally have black people who are doing that and they still not getting ahead in life. With that being said, Roki, what are your thoughts? And then we're gonna get to Aries.
Hi. So, I've been watching from the beginning. I feel like aside from him being just completely disrespectful throughout the entire conversation,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can tell by his attitude, the way he was sitting, his body language, he did not want to be there. And I
That's why I
feel
made a
like in
podcast, so he wouldn't have to be
yeah,
seen. But that's what he wanted. Go ahead.
and that's what I've mentioned in the comments that
Clearly.
after a certain point, it felt like he was being obtuse just for the sake of being obtuse and just for the sake of like disagreeing with everything that was being said. Like it was literally giving, I'm not like the other girls, like I'm not like the other blacks. Also, I don't know if anybody caught this, but every time, and I think Scotty had pointed it out too, every time you mention anything about him being black or his proximity to blackness, oh, well, I'm half Filipino.
Mm,
Okay, okay, but you're still black. But you're also Filipino, like, but you're still black as well. So, um, yeah, I felt like he was just being obtuse for the sake of being obtuse, and
right.
there was never any real answer to what was being asked of any of the questions. So, which I feel a lot of what are the like leftist? Oh no, that's supposedly us. Right wingers. I feel like there's never really a real answer for any questions or scenarios that are being brought up. So, yeah, that's all I have to really say.
Okay. All right. Before we get to Aries, real quick, Buckle said, "I feel like Ron is very smart enough to play oblivious." And you know what? I was really trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, honestly. But there was this video that I put on my Instagram that he actually sent to me. Ron was like, I only got through 12 minutes and I couldn't watch it, but it was the confusing nature of black liberals. And there are a lot of black liberals that are grifters, which means that they are literally doing this for the money. It's kind of like the whole example where there was this black woman who pretended to be Republican and said that, oh, I told my parents I was Republican and they disowned me and they took away my college scholarship. So I need all of y'all to send me money. And how Republican people sent that girl money and come to find out it was a goddamn scam. Because it's like, once again, you're sitting here and you're trying to get liberal people to understand how fucked up they are, but yet at the same goddamn time, you don't have any love, compassion for LGBT people or black people. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Why don't you want to talk about it? Because the facts include you? Is that the issue or the problem? But I want Aries to speak because Aries has a different perspective, and I appreciate Aries because Aries once again has a different perspective in reference to blackness. And if he wants to get into that, that's cool, because I do believe there are some people who have not really been affected by the African American experience that can give some sort of objective outlook or inspiration for black people, because black people right now, a lot of us, we're hurting, we're broken, we don't know how to really move forward. Maybe he can give us perspective. So Aries, what are your thoughts on tonight's live?
So it was actually pretty juicy actually. Like I
Okay,
enjoyed
go
it.
ahead. Mm-hmm.
Um, but my thing it was just kind of like it kind of made me feel some point as well. I think the part that it triggered me, it kind of I want to say that it kind of did offended me in a way
Okay.
when you said when he was like Rocky said he was saying like oh like yeah but like I'm also half Filipino, and in my point of view I didn't see it in the same way that Rocky saw it. In
Mm-hmm.
my point of view, it's like I sort of know how I've been treated, here in the U.S. because, as you know, as I already spoke to multiple about that,
Mm-hmm.
I always had a hard time fitting in with like African Americans because a lot of the times they don't believe that I'm black enough, or they always think that I'm choosing my Hispanic side rather than
Mm,
me being a black person.
right.
And and for me, like that it really did trigger me in a way because I was like, why would you say that? But then at the same time, I do feel like wrong what you said others in a way that to say like, oh, I am not black, I am not black. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it kind of like made me think back on that again, and that's why I was saying like, are you guys seeing? Are you guys actually listening to what he's saying instead of actually hearing him? Because I feel like we were just like he was just really like hearing what he was saying and then responding, and not really going in depth on like him as a person from the inside. Because I feel like he thought that well, at least I thought that we were gonna get to know him way better outside of the politics. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? So like who he was, his background and stuff like that. And He probably might is somebody who does take pride for his Filipino side as well. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
and even for me, like I said, even though I am a black man, I'm a black boy. I'm still Hispanic in this way because
Exactly.
that's a part of my culture. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that he was trying to. In a way, I don't think that he was trying to pick whether he was trying to say be black or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what he really wanted you to acknowledge all of it because even though that he didn't believe in unity in certain aspects,
Mm-hmm.
I think he still wanted to like be like, yeah, I know that I am black already, but this is also a part of me. You get what I'm saying? And for me,
Mm-hmm.
there were times that I felt like you didn't acknowledge that. You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying? Because you were going back to the oh yeah, but this is the black experience because that's what you know. You get what I'm saying? And I
Right.
feel like maybe I'm not saying that you were wrong for it, but like
Right.
maybe if you would have like acknowledged it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
if that could have been the answer to for us to understand him better as a person because a lot of the times I
Mm.
feel like a lot of the times I feel like he was just saying things without really knowing what he was saying
Mm-hmm.
because he's not really educated about a lot of the things and I do agree with everybody on that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we should have just seen him from who he was as a person from the inside because just because somebody's telling you something doesn't mean that that's what they're actually feeling. You get what I'm saying? Because none of the things that he was saying felt natural to me. Like, you get what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
feel like he just wanted to say, oh, yes, like that, 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 that. Because even when he would say things, it wouldn't make sense. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right. And
If you're liberal, you will actually you don't have to say all of these things to demonstrate that you're a liberal. Or like if you're a Democrat, you don't have to say all of these words to show that you're a Democrat. You get what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm like. Yeah, I see what you're doing, but you're not. Yeah.
Right. And thank you for that because I mean, I wish that was the purpose and the goal of my live, and I was kind of nervous about is because I wanted to hear more of that humanity, but he has to be willing to share those sides.
My point exactly.
And my thing is I didn't want to push it out of him because I made a promise to him. Because once again, I'm keeping my promise. You see how they're not keeping theirs, but I'm keeping mine. I kept my promise that I wasn't going to speak about those things because it wasn't my story to tell. I could have to give y'all more of an understanding, but I wanted
Mm-hmm.
him to do that. Now when you're having these conversations and you're having your opinions and going back to his Filipino side, he didn't introduce anything to the conversation about his Filipino side. He just used it as a way of like, wait a minute, I ain't all the way black. I'm also Filipino. But then at the same time, you don't you haven't really acknowledged your I'm gonna mute your mic, Kiki, real quick, just in case. And then when I'm done, I can unmute it. There wasn't anything in reference to blackness that he said was redemptive to help out blackness. He sees what is happening to blackness. When he talked about the nigga experience, well, yeah, I mean, I had guns put on me too, and all these things, but yet we didn't learn how that came about because black people didn't just start doing that one day. There was things in place to pit black people against each other. But again, that's why education and nuance is important, and that's why I wanted to bring that up. And it sounds like I was long-winded, but it's like when you bring up the fact, it's like at court, motherfuckers gonna talk for a while so you can understand. Are you willing to follow it? But it's just easier to just grift and just get clicks and views because it brings you money. But look at the cost, what you say, how it affects the lives of other people. He's sitting up here acting as if though what he's saying is not going to affect other people's lives. There are people who are Republican who support a political party that have money and influence and benefit from capitalism that can take those laws. That's what they're doing now. They don't have to be objectively overt in your face anymore, calling you all these things. They can do it through laws to where well, I mean, this is what happened. That's why they're trying to revert things as far as gay liberation and black liberation. And I
Mm-hmm.
just wish we could have gotten more of that human side because I felt like if we did, I felt like that would have been the gray area. But what I feel bad about in reference to these conversations and what gets me is that the other person has to be willing to do that. And I can't make you do something you don't want to do. So the conversation happened the way that it was, which I didn't want it to. It was him getting up here using what he got to continuously project his rhetoric and his bullshit with no facts
Okay.
and basically just make a spectacle of it. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are going to look at it and see it, and I don't think it's going to be the black people who are going to end up with a cracked face because black people have always survived. And if he would have
Yeah.
educated that set about himself, he probably would have been able to acknowledge his black and Filipino
Mm-hmm.
side.
No, no,
So,
I understand that, but even for me, like I told you multiple, and I said this like the last time I was live with you. Like for me, I was taught that African Americans or Black people here in America were not a good influence. You get what I'm saying? I was taught that. You get what I'm saying?
and that's a world
Because of the
personal view he
way
had too.
exactly, and that's a in but I instead of me discriminating, you know, discriminating them. I actually did my research.
I'm gonna get to you,
I
Kiki.
started, I started to befriend them and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So, like honestly, I don't think that maybe I feel like he just was wanted to say those things because like he wanted to prove a point that this is who I am, and I think he wants to make him being a Democrat his personality.
So
I
you
don't
want to
think
go ahead,
I
go
don't
ahead.
think he was. I don't think he was like because it just didn't make sense some of the things that he said. But I do understand. I do understand him in a deeper level other than the things that he said outside. Because honestly, I feel like what he was saying did not reflect how he really felt on the inside. Honestly, that's why I keep saying, is everybody listening to him instead of hearing him? Like you get what I'm saying? Because I've kept hearing somebody else, and
But it's
yeah,
hard to hear him. And I'm gonna let Kiki talk after this, and then I'll let you guys freely respond because I know Ricky wants to say something. Got their mic unmuted, which I do want to hear from y'all. But I mean, once again, that's on his side to be able to help us fill in those missing spots because when we hear him talk and we do our research historically speaking from the past all the way up till now, if we follow the timeline, which is very very in your face, is right there, it's the same type of conversation and talk that has limited black people. So we're not even really hearing Ron's true thoughts. We're hearing this adoptive narrative of, once again, this party utilizing him as a mouthpiece to say, hey, black people, y'all shouldn't feel no type of way. Look at Ron. And he don't even acknowledge the black side for real. Look at the LGBT people. How can y'all say this about us? Look, we have Ron. We have these people on our side. But then when we ask
exactly,
about the facts, when we ask about the manifestation of these connections, they're not there. I told Ron, I said, why not go to Republican conventions and record and just walk up to the people in the convention and say, what do you think about black people? What do you think about LGBT people? Do you believe that they're tripping, or do you believe that we have so much love and money over here to give them? He wouldn't do that. If anything, he'll probably be like, yeah, them niggas crazy. Those transform, all that other type of stuff is crazy. So we already knew what time he was on. It was sad. But Kiki, what are your thoughts on tonight's live?
Well, first of all, let me just say hello. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
I know
Could
it's
you?
crazy
Is there any way you
because
can get be a little bit louder for me?
can you hear me now?
You still kind of soft.
Why am I so soft? I don't understand it. I don't know. I don't get it.
Oh.
Maybe this is on my end. I don't know. Hold on. Mm, I don't know what's going on.
Oh. There's no way to cut your volume up.
What
Edit
is
mic
going
set. Can I cut your
on?
volume? Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna. Oh, I can't. I can't. Hold on. Just fucking adjust it. Keep talking for us.
Okay, can you hear me?
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Hello?
You sound far a little away. You got headphones in or something?
Yes, I do.
Is there any? Is there any way that you could do it without the headphones if possible, just to see, or do you need them?
Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can take them off. Maybe you guys can hear me. Okay.
Okay.
Hello?
Keep talking.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay, you sound a little bit better. We're just gonna. I'm gonna have to mute my mic while you talk. Go ahead. Let us know
Okay,
how you
sorry
feel
about
about it,
that.
Queen.
This is my only thing about this whole situation. My thing with him is the whole disrespect thing because it's kind of I came on it to just give like a different perspective and I was willing to give him a chance. And I came into it saying, okay, be open minded. But then when he started with the whole contradictions and him being very hypocritical and him calling, transgenders transformers, I was like, oh no, ma'am, we're not fixing to be doing it. I was done with it. I tip my hat off to you, Brandon, because I would have been the end of the live. And you know how I do. I don't do disrespect well at all.
Right, right,
Period. I
right.
don't do that shit. Um, One thing that I would like to say too, Scotty, I really appreciate what you said. I really appreciate what you said. Everything that you said, I completely agree with everything that you said. You were on point. I think that if he would have came with actual facts with what he was talking about, then people would have been able to understand from his perspective. But he chose, in my opinion, to come across in a way that was negative. He was in a low vibrational headspace. And he wants people to respect him. Well, respect is earned, not given. And when you disrespecting people that are transgender like me and any part of the LGBT community, all I can say is fuck you too. And that's it. That's all I have to say. I would never subscribe to anything that he promotes or anything. I like ever. Period. I'm done with him. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. I guess what kind of sucks being an empathetic person is you care about other people, like, and even being more. And I hate saying this, but I'm just being actually just real, being more spiritually inclined. You see how people operate in their pain body and literally get in their own way. It's kind of like you've adopted this narrative that you believe is beneficial for black people and LGBT people, but you have these strict regiments in order to be a part of it that you can't even fulfill because your ass is same gender loving. Now, maybe you can sacrifice as far as, oh, I won't have a husband. But I mean, damn, that's the same thing that conservative religious people feel about LGBT people. The only way that you're honored and God will honor your sexuality is to live your life abstinent from sex. Like, hello, I'm a human being. I enjoy sex as much as the next person, and I want to be able to build my life with somebody and also have sex with them. Like, once again, why is the sexual aspect or just the experience of LGBT people such a problematic thing? And I wish we could have got that answer. But that's how I know it's fear based because when it's fear, fear don't even understand why the hell it's afraid. It can't even put its finger on it. So it
Right.
has to blame everybody else as opposed to taking accountability. And when you talk about being a Christian and walking by Christ, it's an oxymoron because a lot of people who are Christian don't even walk in the ways of Christ. They walk in the ways of the Bible, of religion. They ain't never served Christ a day in their life. When Jesus asked, if Jesus asked come back, he gonna be like, who is y'all niggas? I
Right.
don't know y'all, cause I know my people by their works, and I don't think Christ would have operated in that way. What's your thoughts, Scotty?
I was listening to what Aries was saying, and they were like, well, I remember the comment being in the chat when they were like, is anybody really listening, or are they just hearing what he's saying, or whatever the comment was, something along the lines of that. It's hard to really hear and try to understand somebody when all they're spouting out is bullshit. So if that's all I see on the outside, and I could really give a fuck about what they feel or who they are on the inside, if they saying a bunch of dumb shit, like I'm just, that's just me being 100% honest and being frank, not trying, no disrespect to nobody, but I just feel like when you come in with nothing but bullshit and disrespectful shit, it's really hard for me to really care about who you are on the inside, because all I see is a bullshitter. All I see is somebody that's being hypocritical and disrespectful. I don't care to understand somebody that sits there with a blank face and say, I don't care about LGBT people, or I don't care about this. Someone who has absolutely no empathy or sympathy for no other lives, but want to sit up and want religion to be respected, but can't respect people and their pronouns, or can't respect other people's sexuality or the way they live their lives, or saying, it's the transformer comments for me. It's the whole dykes for me and all this other shit. But
Mm-hmm.
yet you're talking about religion and Christianity and how you walk by Christ and all of this other stuff. And all you doing is fueling the stereotype that most people that are so-called Christians are that's the real example. A lot of people that are Christians, that claim that they're Christians, be doing that same hypocritical bullshit all the time. So for me, I could care less about who he is on the inside, because what he showed on the outside is some bullshit that I wouldn't want to be associated with in the first place. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, Aries, what you think on that?
Yeah. Um. I mean, I agree, but I guess the reason where I'm coming from is mostly because I was not born in the U.S. You get what I'm saying?
Right, right, right.
So when I came to this country and I was 12, so I had to learn a lot of things, which I'm still learning as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I think it was easier for me to like see things because I was never a conservative, but I had that same mindset. You get what I'm saying? In a way, before I got educated about all of these things. But that's the beauty of education. Like education doesn't it's not all about school. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If anything, he should have done just like I did, when I was 15, 16, and 13. He could have just like, we have internet now. So like he could have just like searched there every single question that he has there could be an answer in the internet. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like I do understand your point, but I also want you to understand that I'm coming from like from like a perspective of like, okay, I'm new to this country. Um all of these things are new to me, so let me explore things. And he wasn't trying to explore it because I feel like since he already grew up here, he doesn't really see a reason to care about other people's life. Because like I think I forgot her name. I'm sorry. Kiki said of it
Kiki,
as
yep.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you're thinking that you're standing for something that's actually correct in your point of view or many other people's point of view, that's still going to affect that's still affecting your community as well. You get what I'm saying? Because we have to think about a lot of trans women who are being murdered. You get what I'm saying? Every time I see some kind of trans crime going around, it's always on trans women. I don't see trans men getting murdered. You get what I'm saying? And not saying that that's not happening,
Right.
but trans women, especially trans women of color, black trans women are getting killed all the time. So when he spreads all of these things, it's kind of like that's why I was just like, I see what you're doing, but you're not gonna trick me because you're just talking just to talk, and you're just talking just to prove that I'm a Democrat. Because I really don't believe that he really like really came here to say all of those things. He did it though, but I just feel like he was just to prove a point. You get what I'm saying? Which we all know that it is wrong. Which is why I want to learn more about him personally. But I do see what you're coming from though.
Okay. All right. Roki.
Well, Kiki and Scotty really just took most of the words right out of my mouth, and I completely get where Aries is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's why I'm not. I had wrote down a couple of points just because I had thought about them
Okay.
as everybody was speaking. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like most of them now are just going to be kind of just repeating the same things. But I will say, I know we touched on a little bit about. I know he said something about how he with the black experience and how he did experience the black experience when he had a gun to his face on another black person.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I see a lot, especially by conservative people when they use black on black crime as a scapegoat to change the conversation and to switch up the conversation about crime as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, and he said something earlier, he said something where he said, like, everybody is kind of forgetting about the crime that's happening within the black community. Nobody's forgotten about black on black crime. Nobody has said that it's not real. We pretty much like we acknowledge it and we know that it happens,
Mm-hmm.
and we're actively trying to figure out ways to figure out like what to do about it. But I feel like when people do that, it diminishes the conversation at hand, and because it's like, what does black on black crime have to do with George Floyd? What does black on black crime have to do with Breonna Taylor? Those situations specifically had nothing to like, these were black people that were completely killed wrongfully and without reason by white supremacists. So I just feel like I'm tired of that conversation of using black on black crime as a way to get around
Do you
that
do you think it's
conversation.
their way of saying like, well, you guys want us to value your life, but look at how you value your own life? You feel like they kind of use it in that way to kind of like, well, until y'all do and be accountable, I ain't gonna be accountable for shit.
In ways, yes, I do.
So,
And again, I feel like
mm-hmm.
it's just like it's kind of like a null and void point because that's not the conversation that we're having. We're not talking about what's happening right here, what's happening over there. We're talking about this conversation right here at hand. And I feel like, yeah,
and
so.
and then when you bring up again the facts of black people actually making the change, like not being the quote unquote stereotypical lazy welfare queen, like you have black people that we've seen in history, and that's why I talk so much about history, because they want us as black people to just see our history as us just being beaten and bruised and battered and scorned, but they don't want us to realize or remember the history of us surviving, of us being better. Again, when black people were free, they created and were trying to have their own infrastructure. Like black people knew what they wanted back then. When I brought up the whole Homestead Act, that was a group of black people at that time during this very pinnacle war that was going to benefit the North and use black bodies as a way to say, if you do this for us, we will give you we will give you the resources that you need. And when that happened, do you see how it was easily just refuted and rescinded? And now here it is. You have all of these white people now, even to this day, who benefit and are beneficiaries from the Homestead Act. We don't they
Exactly.
want us to forget about the 60s and 70s. That's why they deemed, like, when you think about all the black people who were black leaders at that time, when there were so many of them that talked about black liberation, every single one of them had their life threatened, or they were successful in assassinating them. Every time there was some sort of black liberation, some sort of black awareness, some sort of
Mm-hmm.
black uh, solidarity, it became a problem and an issue. So you can't sit up here and say that black people are lazy and all that stuff, especially when people now are profiting from the backs of black melanated people. Like the economy and the way that it is, the blueprint for capitalism was off of slavery. That was their way of cheap labor, and they still employ that now. I was going to use an article from Amazon where it was saying that 60% of Amazon workers who get low wage jobs and do way more and get paid less are black and Latino. And then when we look at the
Hmm.
head of like the people that are in these partnerships or executive parts or whatever, there's only a small percentage of black people, and the majority, when it comes to earning more money, when it comes down to just getting more, were white people. That's why it's
Mm-hmm.
institutionalized. That's why it's called institutional racism. And black people gonna all have to also learn with doing their damn research. Okay, your ancestors died, was murdered, had their tongues cut out, and all that shit for trying to read. So yes, black people gonna have to motherfucking light a damn blunt and gonna study to show themselves approved. Because if we don't get ourselves out of this, we're going to fuck ourselves up, because now black people are attacking itself. Once your body starts attacking itself, that's a very serious thing. There has to be some form of surgery, and the surgery that we're going to have to go through, it doesn't require, it's not, we're not going to need anesthesia. Like, we're going to have to face the pain. That's why emotion is important, to Aries' point. If Ron was able to be emotionally available and to be present in the conversation like I was, then we could have got a lot more accomplished. But I understand from his standpoint, this is the easiest way for him to make money, because now I gotta believe he's trolling. Now I gotta believe he's grifting. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But you can't play games like that when it's at the cost of black people's lives. Like, black people are literally being snuffed out, and we see it on film. We have that going on inside and outside. It's a very scary thing, and it just hurts my heart that we couldn't even get to the humanity part because one party was not trying to reveal that. Because if they did, then
Mm-hmm.
their false identity that they're subscribing to wouldn't mean anything. It would fall apart. So, and that's what would happen with conservatives and a lot of white people. They don't want to acknowledge racism. They don't want to acknowledge these things. They don't want critical race theory. They don't want people looking at what they did. It's okay for y'all to demonize every other group of people, but once that mirror of karma comes around your way and we get to see you, you're the only one who has the right to not have to look at the image. Like, no, we're all human beings. And I think they tend to forget that. But when money is your God and you believe in Christianity and you say the only person that can judge you is God, and you don't even know that motherfucker, girl, I mean, what can you do?
Because I promise you, if Jesus was around today, he would not be hanging out with Ron
Girl,
Vuggotta.
Jesus' ass will be cussing them people to hell. I should have asked him, do you think Jesus would be at a gay club, or do you think he would be at a Republican convention? I guess I already know the answer.
Yeah. Oh, that's we already know the answer because we saw where he was in the actual Bible. We saw the places that he occupied. He hung out with the strippers. He hung out with the sex workers. He hung out with the people that were cast out. He hung out with the people that were not popular. So
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, when that time comes, there's going to be a lot of people at the fish fry that didn't think they was going to be there.
Okay, bring me the
So,
check sodas. So I do want to ask a question to everybody on the well, a few questions, then we're going to end it. The first question I want to ask is, what do you think we as Black people, what do you think that we can do to try to get ourselves out of this? Have you guys ever thought about that? Like, what do you feel like is needed for Black people to heal themselves so we can self-actualize and really, you know, manifest what is ours? And I'll start with Aries. Aries, what do you think? And then we'll go to Roki, and then we'll go to Scotty last.
I was gonna, cause I actually do understand what you were coming from. What right now what you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanna say that we have to also remember that all of this started because the white people from England came to came to the US or to the New World because they wanted to be free from the monarchy. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
So as we know it today, this system and this country was built for white people. So it was not really built for us, which is why it's easier for them to like take control or not really educate the kids in the things that they should be educated. Um, and in regards to your question, I think that the only way that we can move forward as a community is by actually um learning about going back to our roots. That's what I want to
Mm.
say. Meaning, like, how we used to live, before religion, before, like, slavery. Do more research on Africa because all of this starts in Africa. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because also as well, like, religion is a big part of, like, um I feel like it's a tool that's always been used to control people.
Mm-hmm.
You get, so religion itself, especially Christianity, is its own agenda.
Mm.
So I feel like if we actually acknowledge everything else aside from religion, I feel like it would be a better and healthier way to connect with God, you know, instead of actually following the Bible.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Roki.
Personally, I do not believe that there's anything that we can do with this current system that we have in place that to fix that system because the system was never created to benefit us. And I'm not really a fan of language that incites any particular things. I'll just say that when you're drawing a picture and when you're coloring it, but you use the black marker instead of the red marker, and it creates the picture that you did not want, you have to destroy it and start from scratch.
Okay, so you basically saying do some voodoo shit. I'm with that. Okay, Scotty, if you're still there, because I know you've been here for a minute. Go ahead
I
first.
echo everything Rocky just said.
Okay, straight to the point. Okay, so I guess the last question I'll ask is, what do you think we can do to deal with our own triggers when it comes to this world? Like, cause we still have to live in this world. Like, unfortunately, like we would hope that the world would be more loving and caring and understanding. But like, how do you feel like we get there? Like, what do you? How do you think LGBT people and Black people? What do you think they should do within themselves to help strengthen, I guess, what's going on? Like, yes, the world outside of us is fucked up, but how can we love on each other? How can we love on each other?
By minding our own damn business.
Okay, Roki, if you want, whoever wants to answer, either Roki or
Oh,
Aries. Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh Lord, I'm high. You gonna make me answer the question again? So no, you good. So I'm asking, like, what do you think? What do you think Black people can do right now in reference to loving themselves? Like, what do you think that Black people need more of from each other in order to make it
um,
work?
I've been trying to reconnect more with the people that came before me.
Mm,
And if you think about it, If you look at every culture, there's a reverence for their ancestors.
Mm,
And that is something that in the black community as a whole that we do not do because it was taught to us. Well, we were taught to forget ourselves. We were taught to forget who we are. And in forgetting who we are taught to forget the people that came before us. And we have to rediscover our reverence for our ancestors because they give us strength and they give us power. And that's not something that they want us to know, and that's not something that they want us to have.
right.
So I think that that's something that we have to, I think black people in general, that we have to do now. Because if you think about it every time, and this is something that I've experienced myself for my own family, like I will be talking to like my dad, and I remember people in my family saying, "Oh, you know, that's demonic. You don't want to be talking to no spirits because the spirit, like, they gonna pretend to be your dad." No, we have to remember our ancestors, and I feel like that is going to, as an immediate thing of yeah, self love. Yeah,
Okay. Yes, I definitely agree with that. That's when I'm really on self love. Okay, Aries.
Um, I really don't have much to say.
Mm-hmm.
Except for like I think the idea that I always believed in it was is actually like getting black people getting to know black people. Like I feel like with us living in a country that's actually multicultural, you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we can actually learn from each other instead of actually tearing each other down. So I honestly feel like if we learn about each other's backgrounds and find the common ground, I feel like we gonna be able to move forward and actually find the path to like not just self love but also like loving the ones who are actually living around us. So
Okay.
that's what I'll have to say. Yeah.
Okay. And I have one more question. I lied. I have one more question. I'm sorry. Do y'all feel like this conversation try to at least establish a gray area in your honest opinion? Aries, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Real key.
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat the question? I'm like taking care of things at the house.
No, you good. You good. Do you feel like this live, like you could understand the undertone of attempting to try to find a gray area? Do you feel like that was something that was trying to be established tonight?
I do. I felt on your end. I feel
Okay.
like on your end,
Okay.
there was definitely attempts being made, and I felt like the conversation ultimately went nowhere because one side was obviously not trying to give or hear.
Okay. And Scotty, please don't ask me to ask the question again.
Agreed. I do feel like it was a one-sided thing. I do feel like you were trying to bring a gray area, but I feel like he wasn't trying to, and that's why there wasn't one.
Okay. All right. You ever say something, Aries? You got your mic unmuted.
Oh no! Oh no! No!
Oh, you
No!
good?
I
Okay.
was just listening. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. You good? Well, I thank y'all for coming up. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we end the live, or are you guys good?
I'm good. I'm about to go.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I would have to say left is I guess we will be seeing Ron at the fish fry since we're all going to hell.
Oh yeah, I'll see him there. I'll see him there. I heard the weed fire in here. Okay. And Aries, you have anything else you want to say?
I know that I'm not going to hell because I already been to heaven. So, and you know
Oh,
what I'm talking
okay.
about, Bubs.
My
You
little
know, so
pony, my little
I already
pony.
been to heaven. So I know I'm going to heaven.
Boy, shut up. All right. Well, I thank y'all for coming up for the live. I really do appreciate it. I thank y'all for rocking with me through this because I told y'all was gonna be triggered. I said y'all. See, I gave preface. I knew what the fuck I was doing and what I talked about. My intentions were very clear. The interpretation of that is based on the person, but the fact that other people can see it, you know what I mean. And I didn't want it to be a debate, but if it was a debate, I clearly won.
Mm.
Because if we were
Yeah.
doing this in a formal way, you not bringing any facts, that would have been it. But I didn't want it to do it that way because it's like, yes, there is some wrong in this, but be accountable for your wrong too. I don't mind being accountable for mine, but can you at least be accountable for your wrong? And when we can't do that, it becomes a problem because there's one party who feel like they not goddamn wrong, but they can't prove it. I don't know. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
Okay.
It definitely was triggering a lot of the things that was being said, and
Spicy, you want to
it's
pray before you watch this replay.
high spicy. But
Hi,
yeah,
Spicy.
it was definitely triggering a lot of the things that were being said, especially when you're just saying things and just like throwing things at the wall to see what sticks because nothing was making sense. So, and that's why I say, like, after a certain point, okay, now it just feels like you're just saying things just to be, contradictory. So,
Yes, and I could have literally went there. I could have literally went like the whole ego stomping stuff. I could have done that, but
oh
I
yeah,
felt
I
like if
think you did.
no, I'm talking about I could have went the way that I wanted to because again, I've this whole time established a peaceful approach about it. But at the same time, when it's about love, you also gonna speak to what is not true and challenge that. I mean, you up here
mm,
speaking about your perspective about LGBT. Okay, well then my thing is you have to be ready for that type of smoke back. But if you really
yeah,
care about black people, if you really care about LGBT people and you really want them to change their life, and if you've literally found something that benefited you and said, hey, I feel like this cannot just benefit me, it could benefit you as well, you have to prove to these people. But once again, how can you sit up here and say that God is not about money, but you about capitalism that's all about money? I just don't understand that aspect.
yeah,
What I want these people to understand is spiritually speaking, and I want to say this spiritually speaking, it goes back to the scripture. The last shall be first and the first shall be last. You can't be mad when the karmatic boomerang or the pendulum swings evenly back to the other side. And that's what's happening with LGBT representation, black
Mm-hmm.
representation, women's representation, anti-war representation. And if you do your research, we are literally in the same area that we was in the 70s. Civil rights
mm,
was on the rise. Gay rights was on the rise. Women's rights was on the rise. Hello, you have the protections and laws that's put in place to help LGBT people live their life because we live in a society who doesn't believe it. So, I mean, of course, you have to put laws in place to be able to help people to fucking be human beings because we don't know what human beings look like. You literally have women that come out with the Me Too movement who are speaking about their experiences of being part of toxic male patriarchy that only sees
Mm-hmm.
women as fucking objects and nothing else. They're supposed to cook, clean, and serve pussy up whenever they want it. So you have these
Mm-hmm.
people who don't want to play in these roles that don't benefit them and that hurt them the most. And instead, and here's the thing, ain't nobody saying that your expression of life is going to be erased. If anything, LGBT and black lives is just showing the inclusion, it's just adding to it. That's all it simply is. But see, we can't add to it if y'all got some of our shit. Again, the wealth of this nation is built off the backs of black people who did work for little to nothing. I mean, there's a whole documentary called The 1619 Project on Hulu right now that you can go look like. It'd be mind boggling to me because it's like the information is there, the resources is there, the factual evidence is there. But you want LGBT people to bring the facts though. You want us to express. We're trying to we're trying to express how we're trying to express our humanity, and it's like no matter what we express, it's never enough. There's always the moving of the goalpost, being moved back and back and back to back to where black people can't catch a break. And when they did, we saw what happened factually to these people. Even when black people peacefully protest today, they're met with militarized police. But then when we talk about the January 6th insurrection, where was they
Right.
at? Where was the military police? Like, we know what's
They were
going
helping them
on.
get into the building.
And white
That's why they were.
and a lot of white America and a lot of those who benefit from capitalism, those small governments, but big corporations, of course, the small governments inspire and influence these corporations. Like with Pride Month and stuff, they don't really care about LGBT people. They want your LGBT money. Because as soon as the clock strikes 12 on July 1st, all that shit come down. The same thing with Black History Month. It's saturated with Valentine's Day and the fucking Super Bowl to where it overrides that. But see, that's okay. Because what these people are understanding, karma is happening. And that's something that you can't stop. That's why I talk so much about self-love. Because if you don't love yourself, when that time comes, when the shit hits the fan and all the false ideologies and viewpoints that we believe are removed from us, y'all gonna lose y'all fucking mind. And what I'm saying gonna really hit then. You talking about what you saying gonna hit. No, what I'm saying is going to hit because I actually have empathy too. Not just intellect, but empathy. And when you have one or the other and you don't have the balance of that, you are not qualified to speak on anything. You're not. You're not qualified for that. So did you get affirmative action to get in your position to be able to speak this bullshit and not with the facts? But that's okay. When karma come through and motherfuckers had a nigga experience, girl, while everybody else saying I told you so, while everybody else is kicking your ass and whooping you, understand there's going to be people like myself who after the beat down, after the stump down, after the ego beating and bruising, I'm going to have my hand extended like, come on, bro, get your ass up. No nigga left behind. Because I believe that. You ain't got to, but I do. Just like how Christ died for the sinners and died for the homosexuals, died for everybody, that same love and grace and mercy still cover your ignorant ass too. Be glad that there's people like myself who's willing to give you the opportunity to speak your side because all the shit that you was saying in this conversation, that live would have been clipped and would have been ended in a matter of 2 minutes. You came out the door swinging. But yet I am the one who is trying to convert you. I'm challenging you because you're going to do what you want to do anyway.
I don't know how you say. I don't know how you kept the live up because once he said, "I don't care," okay, well, have a good night.
But I think it also shows the fact because when people look at this, they're going to see how emotionally dense and cold and dead that he is. But see, that emotionality is not dead when it comes down to you. When it's time for people critiquing your ass and what you going through, then all of a sudden, oh, y'all don't know me. There's an exemption there for you. That's what I was trying to get him to understand, that you're trying to find a way to exempt yourself when the system itself does not even honor you. You think because motherfuckers cash apping you something, yeah, girl, just like on slavery, there had to be motherfuckers who were black who also were slave patrol as well. Let's not forget it. We needed Uncle Ruckus. They needed Uncle Ruckuses. They needed Uncle Tom, They needed all those people who were black to 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 prove to themselves that I don't have to deal with that. I'd rather be the master's friend and suck on his white dick as opposed to be out here with y'all niggas in the hot sun and being beaten and stuff. So I don't know if he's trying to escape that part of blackness because I gotta believe he knows that. You live in the fucking hood. This is a product of
Yeah,
what the system has done. But if you did your research, and that's what pisses me off, when people get up here and it'd be one thing if it was like Aries who said, I'm still learning. I don't know everything about this. And I might say some things that might be triggering, but please educate me so I can better myself. It's one thing when you do that. But when you get up here with your chest puffed up and your head held high, like God is just speaking in your goddamn ear as if though, oh, what you're saying is true. You letting them homosexuals have it.
right. And
It's
then
like,
especially for
Yeah.
him to be, and especially for for he himself to be a homosexual about him and saying all these things about the queer community, like, sir,
And like I said, I said, well, if that's the case, why not go ahead and do it? Because I sent him a video of this white guy. I forgot his name. I think his name is Joshua Chambers. He used to be a gospel singer. He was on Sunday's Best. This white guy. You could tell he was gay. I guess he dealt with crack problems. He dealt with his sexuality problems. And apparently now he's free from homosexuality and he's no longer doing that. He's subscribing to the heterosexual narrative. Okay, so my
I
thing is,
saw that.
Ron, if that's the case, didn't do that. Like, that would be the ultimate way to crack gay people faces. Like, if there are demons and stuff, then why don't you end up being the conduit? Why don't you end up being the gay Christ and die up on the cross for the gay sins and allow the
Uh,
gay to be removed from you so that you can sit up here and tell us with facts, which is your life, to say, hey, look, I am no longer gay. I like women, and if I can do it, so can you, and show them how to do that. He's not going to
but
do
that's
that.
also dangerous too.
But see, but he's not going to do that because it's like if you're saying that gay people are demonically, or if you're saying that there is nothing of God, nothing that is fruitful and life giving within the LGBT experience, and the only thing that is really built on is mental illness and built on demonic possession, then my thing is, why not do the Christ work, which was to remove these demons? That's what Christ did. Christ was able to expel these demons. So why not expel the demon within yourself? And
You
then when he
know,
sat up here and said, "Oh well, I mean, for one, I guess it takes one mentally ill person to know another mentally ill person." Okay, so we both mentally ill. So how do you get to speak with such validity if you're on the same frequency as me? So are we able to trust what you say?
but that's how you know he be capping, because like, you know, normally
Yeah.
people who are mentally ill, they don't even know that they're mentally ill most of the time. They don't. So like, you know. But also, I wanted to say this, Bobs. I feel like you should, because next month, either next month or in April, I'm gonna start a new study. Well, like I'm gonna actually do study about homosexuality before colonism. You know, because you know this, you know, I have read somewhere about, you know, a lot of leaders, many tribe leaders were actually like transgender or cross dressers or like, you know, homosexual themselves to lead their pack. So like I actually wanna. I mean, if you wanna do that, you could just like, you know, search it up
Almost.
for yourself. But I'm gonna do that honestly
Please do
because
that.
I'm really interested in that. Because
Yes. Yes, please do that.
they be saying that how we don't do much, but and I feel like that's the purpose of why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here to keep to put a balance to the world. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
when you have too much power of one thing, it always collapses. The war is the way it's in the way that it is right now because of heterosexual men. You get what I'm saying? They build up the system for them. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's a study that I'm gonna be like starting the next month
And
or in April. So
please let me know about that because I would love for you to do that. And then on top of that, there's another amazing content creator by the name of Conscious TV who literally did a whole live where it was called Africa is Gay as Fuck and spoke about the different tribes factually in Africa to this day, who have honored LGBT people. Like, we understand that Africa is not the face of LGBT, but they also honored LGBT. They didn't even look at LGBT the way that the Western world has because that's through the lens of the evangelical faith. We're still looking at it that way. We haven't really done our research as far as, like you said, the inclusivity, and then not even just black people, Native Americans. They honor trans people and see them as two-spirited people, and they're
I think they
actually
still
very
do.
revered and stuff like that. I mean, in the history, I mean, you had LGBT people who were eunuchs. Even Christ talked about eunuchs in the Bible. He said some eunuchs are made by men, some eunuchs are natural, and some eunuchs are made to keep their faith. So there's different forms of that. That was in harems. Like LGBT people were in royal, higher vibratory spaces. They had positions of power, and they were able to utilize it correctly because, once again, they were balanced. They were balanced people. So, but again, people don't do their research. That's another thing with black people. We need to do our research. We will die. Our people will die out if we don't know about our heritage, not the horrible shit that we went through, even though it's there, but to actually deal with the stories of triumph. Like I just found out recently yesterday watching the 1619 project about how Haiti was able to gain their independence. It was the first black liberated country. And we see how America treats Haiti now, to where they don't get no resources, they don't get nothing because they fought for their freedom, because they were more than just property. And it's just so sad. Like, we don't have to have this conversation. Like, you can literally just give black people what they want, give them what they're owed. Like, there's been conversations about reparations now, which we didn't get really around to that conversation. But I mean, it's to the point now to where some people are saying that the debt has accrued to 6.2 quadrillion. I think that's the thing, if I'm not mistaken. Quadrillion or something, quad something dollars. And people are saying that's impossible. No, it's not. You can just do it like the stimulus package. Like, give those black people that money throughout their lifetime and just don't put taxes on it. Like, there are ways around this. But you literally have people who are trying to say, oh, well, that was so long ago, the statute of limitations. Okay, then, so if black people are going to forget about that, America needs to forget about 9/11. And Jewish people need to forget about the Holocaust if we're going to play this game. Like, how about everybody forgets? Like, why do black people have to play that game of forgetting? Meanwhile, of course you don't want us. Of course you don't want to. Of course you want us to forget, because once again, the accountability goes back to y'all and how once again white people have benefited. This is factual evidence. Y'all, and that's why I speak from a spiritual standpoint. Y'all really think that Jesus is gonna come back for y'all? Y'all literally think that Jesus Christ is going to come back, that y'all his people? Y'all literally think that y'all, and that's the thing, they don't even walk in Christ, they walk in God. How can you get to God? You have to go through Christ first, and Christ was the feminine, emotional part of man. He said that I am the way, the truth, and the life. Can't no man get to God but through me, which means you're going to have to go up on the cross. You're going to have to carry your cross. You're going to have to die unto the self, which means die until false things that do not serve you. But see, that's not being... See, religion and the Bible needs to be interpreted by spiritual, metaphysical people, mystics, not these people who have utilized religion as a form of control and money. Like, religion is literally a business now. And the reason why I'm talking and have quote-unquote long-winded, which, bitch, I'm never long-winded. I give educated and nuanced responses. Just because y'all hoes got ADHD and got a goddamn mental capacity of an intellectual midget. I'm a midget in real life, but y'all midgets intellectually, that's on y'all. And be thankful for the people who did do the work, who did put in the hours, because if it wasn't for them people, none of our black asses would be up here to be able to share what the fuck we gotta say now. We would be on the nigga side of internet. So it's funny how people forget, and that's why I get irritated. Don't get up here and talk shit as if you know when you motherfucking don't, and don't get mad when you get checked. And there are some people in the world who gonna feel so offended by your perspective. It goes both ways. Just like there's homophobic and shit like that. Don't get mad when some trans women start whooping your ass. Don't call no hate crime because you're part of the community. So how is that gonna work? You got your ass beat by the very transformers you talked about, done out on your ass. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all for being up here with me. Thank y'all for rocking with me. It's almost close to 5 in the morning. I'm gonna go ahead and give my final thoughts, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end the live. So, anything else before we go? Or are you guys good?
I'm good.
Okay, Aries.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm about to head out because I have an interview
Okay.
this afternoon. So yeah, it was nice talking to you.
Yes. Thank y'all for coming, and
Yeah,
good luck on your interview,
Welcome.
Aries.
Good
thank
luck,
you.
Aries.
All
Thank
right.
you,
Thank you,
Rocky. Bye.
Rokia.
Good night.
Welcome.
All right. Good night.
Good
Bye.
night. I gotta get up and go to work in the morning. So,
Okay. Well, I thank you so much for
all right.
rocking with me. Have a good night now.
You too.
All right. All right, y'all. Let me actually do it the way that I wanted to do it, because we about to end this, y'all. I'm not going to hold y'all. A part of me is a little disappointed because when I should have kept this going, but he was going to be on live. It would have covered him. When we had the conversations in private, I thought we were going to open up more about the human aspect, because that's what I'm about. I'm not up here to try to prove to anybody and all this type of stuff, and for the games and the ill-gotten gains from it. I'm doing this because I really want black people to heal. And I wanted to invite another aspect of blackness that is unique from mine. And I wish he was able to expose more of his own blackness, as opposed to speaking so ill against the other versions of blackness that he does not understand. And I gave grace and mercy. Were there moments where I kind of slipped up and overtalked? Yes, I did. I ain't gonna hold you. I had to hold my composure because you came in swinging with the derogatory terms, and I gave you the opportunity to speak that. I don't think that would have happened on any other liberal sort of platform. But at the end of the day, I am grateful to have had this conversation with Ron, because it wasn't really, this conversation was not meant to recruit Ron, because Ron gonna do him. And I told Ron this: if what you feel is truly benefiting you and you feel you are called by God to live such a righteous life through this, that's perfectly fine. Do that. But don't try to project and bleed your righteousness onto other people, especially when you don't have any fucking facts. It makes no sense. And of course, you can come up here and say things for 30 seconds, because when you're talking out the side of your neck, it sounds like word vomit. But when you speak with facts, you bring forth education, you bring forth nuance, you bring forth context to help people understand. So I wish the conversation could have went differently. I could have wished there would have been more empathetic things there. But once again, that's just me having hope for people, and I still have hope for Ron. I don't wish anything bad against him, contrary to what he may believe. But I do care about his well-being, and I hope that he does manifest his best life. But the way that you're going about it, bruh, I don't think it's going to be your best life. Because how can you have your best life when you sit here and demonize other people and then expect them not to do it to you? Didn't the Bible say, do unto others as you want them to do unto you? So you can't be mad. That's the thing. Like, do y'all even read the book? Because it gives the illusion that what y'all saying is simply ignorant responses to try to diffuse the plight of LGBT people and of black people. But one thing about it is that that's been happening for a long time, and we still here, and that's the gag. The gag is that we're still here. And once black people start uniting for real and have the resources to protect themselves while they self-actualize, I guarantee you this system will change and it will become inclusive, because we are also American. The blood, sweat, and tears of my ancestors are in this earth. We have built the White House. We have built numerous and all amounts of inventions. We have been very creative. We have been very beneficial to the economy and the growth of America. We have done that. And all black people are asking, just like any other group that have asked, to just simply give them what is theirs. Point blank, period. That is right and that is just. And when you sit up here and have generations after generations after generations after generations of people trying to show you their plight. During slavery, it was slave journals. During the era of radio, black people utilized that. When it came to the era of television, to not just hear, but to show what was going on, there was still bullshit. And now we're in the era of social media, where anything can be shared in a matter of minutes and garner millions of views. So the more that the universe is trying to get us to actually look at each other and to understand each other as human beings, the universe is only going to operate on what it is that we give. And we're giving very much destructive energy. We as a nation is giving very much destructive energy. And the universe cannot sit here and tear apart what you really mean or not. It's only going to operate from the energy that you give out. So unfortunately, we're going to manifest death and destruction. We're going to manifest race wars. We're going to manifest a civil war, because there are people in this country who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We are the people. The motherfuckers in power work for us. We the people. And that's how I know this shit gonna manifest, because even during the Declaration of Independence, there was some higher form of awareness that was in those texts that saw that all men are created equal, that it's their inalienable right. So the fact that there were people back then who saw the bullshit, who acknowledged the bullshit, and tried to rectify the bullshit. And then you have other people who completely come through, get in positions of power just to send it back down when karma come through. Because karma coming for everybody. It's coming for white people, it's coming for black, it's coming for humanity, girl. But white supremacy and this patriarchal system is going to have their time with Mother Nature. And Mother Nature is not going to come in on this loving type of vibratory state, because Mother Nature been giving you that. Again, black people and LGBT people have protested and shared their plight peacefully. They have never gotten violent with white people. They have never gotten violent with law enforcement. Meanwhile, they've gotten violent with us. You keep backing an animal into a cage, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? It's going to lash out. And then on top of that, white America, their numbers are dwindling. See, what you resist is going to always persist. So now, white people, all I want to say is welcome to niggerdom. Welcome me, welcome you. We here. Here go some pamphlets. Here go a blunt. I know you're not used to seasoned food and shit, but here you go. I know you're not sip on the Kool-Aid, because you know what I'm saying, y'all got thin air. See, I could go in like that as far as hatred as well. But that's why I want to have these conversations with blackness, because once that transfer of power happens and spirit is backing that, which none of these motherfuckers can stop, that we don't end up being like them. That we don't sit up in the seat of supremacy, and that we can actually manifest equality. Because when you do your research about black people before pre-colonialization, black people were united. We honored the diverse expressions of ourselves. And if that's the truth, and we're going to speak factually here, isn't Africa the mother of all life? Didn't everything come out of Africa, to where scientists are saying this? White, black, all different forms of scientists have said this. They don't want blackness to unite. And blackness is in a very detrimental state. We have black people right now who are literally killing each other over money, over possessions that don't even belong to you and benefit you. And the fact that these systems perpetuate that. Who is funding these artists? Who is the ones making sure that this music that is low vibratory, that speaks against the black experience, who do you think keeps this on the airwaves? Us? No. That's why I ask y'all, I beg of y'all to please do your research. But see, people don't want to do better. I mean, people don't want to know better, because once they know better, they have to do better. And a lot of people are not ready for that. But don't stop the motherfuckers who are. Don't try to stop the people who do want to self-actualize. And to every LGBT person, to every black person, I want you to understand that you are loved. And that there are people right now who have emotional wherewithal, who are able to have emotional intelligence, and they're emotionally available and balanced, who are out here trying to bridge the gap. And unlike Ron, I'm putting my life on the line, because I understand that my life is already on the line. That's why black people need to get back to their spiritual roots. Get back to who they are, to who we are. And if we don't do that, we are going to dishonor our ancestors. They're turning in their graves right now, because they're saying, wow, this generation has so much potential, so much to live for. Don't let all the advancements that we have done, all of the blood, sweat, and tears that have been shed unwillingly, don't let that go in vain. But baby, let me tell you something. When she hit the fan, girl, it's going to be very interesting. And the one thing that I can say about black people that is absolutely true, and I said it before and I'll say it again, I'll keep saying it, black people know how to survive. We done auntie feed the shit. We done took ramen noodles and all type of dollar store shit and stretched that shit out like a gourmet meal. We have roach spirits, girl. You can't get rid of roaches. Roaches is everywhere. So blackness is still here. But I imagine what's going to happen when whiteness starts to crumble. Because whiteness is crumbling. It is. Oh, y'all thought that it was never going to catch up with you? I mean, once again, racism, it was a two-way street. It took white and black people to play into this. So it's going to take white and black people to get out of this. And if you need a little bit of spiritual help and push, I guess it's what you're going to have to get in. But y'all, thank y'all for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm so sorry that we started so late. And I hope that this video helps somebody. I hope it does. I hope it helps to awaken the love of self. And even though there are people in the world like Ron who think the way that they think, we still have to find a way to love them too. Because people are only operating out of what it is that they know right now. And I'm even learning to love myself. Just like how Ron is finding God in his life, I am too. And there are going to be people who don't like it. There are going to be people who can't rock with it, and that's okay. I just want the right ones. And we don't need everybody to make change. We just need enough. And I'm just doing my part to be one of those people. So thank y'all for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me shout out the people in the comment section. Shout out to Roki. Shout out to Zay. Buckle, thank you for coming through. Shout out to Queen Spicy. Shout out to King Naries. Shout out to Queen Kiki Kamari. Shout out to Queen Not Another Land. Shout out to King Aries. Shout out to Trap. Shout out to him. I have talked to Trap. I wanted Trap to hit the live because, girl, you was in this comment section kind of caping for this nigga, girl. I just want to understand. Shout out to Scotty by Nature, King Scotty. Who else we got? I think that was it, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to y'all, and thank y'all so much for employing patience as well, because I know, again, Miss English, I know y'all had to, baby. Low Key Fur, where you at? King Low Key Fur. And that's the thing, girl. Black people and LGBT people have to deal with this on the everyday. We gotta deal with this on the everyday, girl. That's why motherfuckers getting upset, girl. Because for a lot of LGBT people and black people, this is their everyday life, and they waking up saying, "Damn, I'm really here. I'm really in this matrix, stuck with these other ignorant motherfuckers who don't want to do nothing, girl. Like, what the fuck?" But please hit the like button. You don't have to subscribe because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I get that. I accept that. But you can at least hit the like button. God damn, it ain't gonna cost you nothing. It's half of a fucking millisecond. And that helps YouTube to do their job and to push me up in the algorithms so that more people can see this. And I'm willing to talk to other conservative people and other viewpoints. But understand, when it comes down to a conversation, there's going to be challenges in the conversation. The question is, are you emotionally prepared to deal with those conversations? So thank y'all for rocking with me. I really appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, peace the fuck out.
Love never dies, just choose to be born